There comes a moment in every chosen soul's journey when the silence is so loud, it feels like the universe is holding its breath. You may have felt it lately, the trembling beneath your feet, like tectonic plates grinding in slow motion, not just in the physical, but in the spiritual. The unseen has started to ripple into the seen. Systems once unshakable are cracking. Truths once buried are clawing their way to the surface. And deep in your soul, you know, something massive is about to break. You've waited, watched. Carry your pain with quiet dignity while those who wronged you built kingdoms out of your stolen legacy. But now, the delay is over. The gavel has dropped. The universe is moving, swiftly and decisively, in your favor. This is not just karma. This is cosmic justice. If you are feeling this message in your spirit right now, let's subscribe and comment 777 to know this. You have been called for such a time as this. The heavens had already made their decision when you first breathed. The stars aligned in sacred silence, marking your arrival not as coincidence, but as calling. Woven into the fabric of your spiritual DNA were promises of abundance, protection, divine purpose, and inheritance. These weren't random blessings scattered by fate. They were precise assignments etched into eternity. Divine contracts, drafted in the language of light and sealed with the fire of destiny, had already been signed with your name. And when your soul descended into this realm, it carried the full weight of that calling. The moment your feet touched this earth, shadows stirred. The resistance didn't come from strangers. It came from within the bloodlines meant to protect you. Generations corrupted by greed and blinded by ego began to move against you, subtly, strategically. These were not mere acts of jealousy. These were orchestrations, calculated, practiced, and deeply rooted in the fear of your light. They watched as your gifts began to take shape, recognizing early what you had not yet realized. Your potential threatened the very foundation of their illusion. So they studied you. They mimicked you. And when imitation failed, they took a darker route. What they could not replicate, they stole. What they couldn't comprehend, they slandered. What they couldn't earn, they forged. They twisted the truth into tales that served their narrative. They rewrote histories and constructed realities where you were the outsider, where your rightful place was handed to someone else. They created documents, literal or metaphorical, to reroute your inheritance, your name erased in ink or intention. With every move, they pushed you further from what was always meant to be yours. But perhaps the cruelest tactic of all was convincing you that you were never meant for more. They planted seeds of doubt, hoping you would forget what your soul always knew, that you were born chosen. They gaslit your intuition, mocked your dreams, and spun lies so carefully, so consistently, that even you began to wonder if the vision in your spirit had been a mistake. Yet, through all of it, one truth remained untouched. The original decree still stands. What was written in light cannot be undone by hands moving in shadow. What was assigned to your spirit before time began cannot be claimed by those who operate in deception. Your birthright may have been buried, but it was never lost. And now, the time of unveiling has come. This is a carefully constructed campaign, slow, methodical, and ruthless. A war fought not with weapons, but with whispers, documents, manipulation, and masked intentions. It was warfare waged in the quiet corridors of legal systems, spiritual dimensions, and psychological games. While you were still learning to love and trust, they were mastering how to control, conceal, and conquer. Behind closed doors, under the guise of civility, they built a network designed to keep you from what was yours. They held late-night meetings, whispering alliances into being. They entered strategic relationships not for love, but for leverage. Quiet bribes changed hands. Paperwork passed through complicit fingers. Every move was calculated to shift power, redirect blessings, and dismantle your access to your own legacy. They didn't just block your path, they rewrote the map. They built dams to reroute your flow of abundance. They constructed walls to obscure your vision, hoping you'd lose sight of your purpose. And the most cunning of all, they wore masks. Smiling, supportive, and seemingly on your side, they stood close enough to study your every step until the moment came to strike. Their deception was intimate, personal, engineered to make you question not only them but yourself. And yet, despite it all, you endured. They took your resources, your opportunities, even moments of your identity, but they could not dim your light. Because what they failed to understand is this: blessings that are truly divine cannot be destroyed. They can be delayed, hidden, misdirected, but they remain alive, pulsing beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to rise. Now, in a twist only the universe could script, the very tools they use to bury your destiny are becoming the blueprints for their own exposure. The lies they carefully layered are collapsing under the weight of truth. The masks are slipping, the alliances are fracturing, and the shadows where they once hid are being flooded with revelation. Their architecture of deception was elaborate, but it was never eternal. Because the truth, once buried, is now rising. And this time, it's bringing justice with it. What they never accounted for was that their careful planning could never outmaneuver divine timing. While they schemed behind closed doors, convinced they were untouchable, the universe was wide awake, watching, waiting, recording every move in silence. Not one injustice escaped its notice. Not a single lie, manipulation, or stolen moment went uncounted. Every betrayal added weight to your karmic inheritance. Every opportunity taken from you accrued spiritual interest. Every tear you shed in silence became a seed planted in unseen soil, destined to bloom at the perfect hour. You weren't just waiting, you were accumulating. Not just for payback, but for something greater: restoration. This is about being launched into what should have already been yours had they not interfered. It's not a rewind, it's an acceleration. A holy correction, of course. A divine recalibration not only of your path but of everything connected to you. And now, the shift has begun. There is no astrological transit strong enough to match this movement. Not even Mercury in retrograde compares to what's unfolding. This is bigger than fate or fortune. This is a celestial reordering, a justice so precise it rewrites timelines and resets balance on both personal and cosmic levels. This is the great correction, not born from revenge, but from divine alignment. What was once hidden is emerging. What was delayed is now speeding forward. And what they thought they buried forever is erupting into the light with unstoppable force. The universe has decided, it's your time now. Even now, as you read these words, something is unfolding in the realm beyond the visible. A spiritual pursuit is underway, fast, precise, unstoppable. Sirens are wailing in the unseen, their sound vibrating through the atmosphere like a warning bell to every soul involved in deception. Above, divine helicopters circle with perfect awareness, their spotlight of truth scanning every hidden corner, every locked vault, every sealed file. Warrants have been issued not by man, but by heaven, and they are now being executed on earth with relentless accuracy. The conspirators can feel it. The walls are closing in. Panic has begun to set in as they scramble for shelter that no longer exists. They're making desperate calls to lawyers in the dead of night, shredding evidence under moonlight, shifting funds to offshore accounts, and researching distant lands where they hope extradition laws might offer a false sense of security. But it's too late. The trap was triggered the very moment they touched what was never theirs to claim. You see, what is divinely assigned comes with protection coded into its very essence. By interfering with your destiny, they activate a celestial tracking system they cannot outrun or outsmart. Because the universe doesn't need handcuffs, it doesn't rely on bars or cells. All it requires is timing, divine, precise, and absolute. And now, time has caught up with them. Their every move is being watched by forces that cannot be bribed or delayed. Justice isn't approaching quietly, it's roaring in, loud enough to shake their illusions and loud enough to announce that what was hidden is now being reckoned with. The sirens aren't just sounding, They're signaling the beginning of the great unraveling. What's coming won't be quiet. It won't arrive in whispers or behind closed doors. No, this will be loud, public, and utterly unavoidable. The walls they built to contain the truth are crumbling, and everything they worked so hard to conceal is bursting into the open. Secrets buried beneath years of manipulation are surfacing like debris after a flood, visible, undeniable, and damning. They're carefully crafted images, the polished reputations, the curated appearances. The long-maintained facades are shattering like glass under the weight of revelation. Private conversations once confined to dark rooms are being echoed across timelines, headlines, and living rooms. What was once said in secret is now center stage. The patriarch who built his legacy on the illusion of integrity. Exposed. The matriarch who wore morality like a crown while orchestrating betrayal behind the scenes. Unmasked. That smiling cousin who played innocent while siphoning off your blessing. Publicly humiliated. This isn't just another scandal to be swept under the rug. This is divine education, a celestial case study in what happens when people attempt to hijack someone else's destiny. The universe is making an example out of this story, not out of cruelty, but as a warning, as a teaching moment etched into the collective consciousness. What they did wasn't just wrong, it was cosmic trespassing. And now the lesson must be delivered in full view of the world. Because when someone touches what heaven assigned to another, it doesn't go unnoticed. And now, with nothing left to hide behind, the truth is doing what it always does in the end, rising to the surface, blinding, undeniable, and backed by divine fire. And then, just when they thought their fortress of lies was impenetrable, something unexpected happened. One of their own turned. A former ally, once deeply woven into their web of deception, has been stirred by something stronger than loyalty, guilt, or maybe fear. Whatever the reason, they're no longer willing to stay silent. The weight of what they know has become too heavy to carry. Now they're stepping forward with proof, not vague memories or whispered confessions, but hard evidence, emails, recorded phone calls, handwritten notes from secret meetings, financial statements, wire transfers, receipts upon receipts, concrete documentation of the betrayal, tangible trails leading back to exactly when they took what was yours and how they planned to keep it. There's no more speculation. Now it's recorded, time-stamped, signed. With every file shared, another domino falls. The house of cards they built is collapsing in real time, and the shadows they used to hide in have become floodlit stages of exposure. Those who once operated in secrecy are being pulled into the open, one by one, forced to face the truth they tried to bury. And the insider who flipped? They're not just offering information. They're unlocking the very doors that were slammed shut against you. The doors to justice, to restoration, to your rightful place. Because the moment truth finds a voice, everything begins to shift. What once looked like a dynasty, untouchable, immovable, solid, has begun to crumble. The family name they built like a monument to themselves is now falling apart brick by brick. The wealth they flaunted as a symbol of power, frozen, seized, dismantled. The titles they wore like armor doctor, CEO, trustee, benefactor, are being stripped, not quietly, but publicly. And the influence they once used as a weapon to silence you is now boomeranging back with force. Every pillar they leaned on is collapsing. They're losing board seats once secured by backroom favors. Business partners who once praised them in press releases are withdrawing support overnight. Friends who stood by them for photo ops are now erasing digital footprints, deleting pictures, removing tags, scrubbing mentions, trying to pretend they were never involved. But the collapse is too big, too visible. This isn't just a fall from grace. It's a total dismantling of the illusion they worked so hard to build. Because the same web they spun to trap you is the one they're now entangled in. The same lies they used to shut doors on your face are now the reason every door is closing on them. Their network of manipulation, once so sophisticated, has become a stage for their downfall. And the irony? It's almost poetic. They built their empire by undermining your destiny, but in doing so, they triggered a sequence of divine events they could never escape. What they thought was a clever trap has become a net of reckoning, tightening with every exposed truth, with every consequence they can no longer avoid. The house of cards has finally met the wind, and now, everything is falling. Let this be the moment you finally remember the truth of who you are. You were never crazy for sensing something deeper. You were never wrong for believing you were meant for more. And you were certainly never unworthy. The resistance you faced wasn't proof of your weakness. It was confirmation of your calling. You weren't attached because you were broken. You were targeted because you were chosen. They saw your light before you did. And instead of honoring it, they tried to dim it. They tried to convince you it was all in your head, that the dreams in your heart were delusions. But every whisper of intuition, every glimpse of greater purpose, every tug on your soul, it was all real. It was always real. And now, what was once lost is returning to you, not quietly, but rushing in with force. Every blessing that carries your name is racing back to your life with interest. What was stolen is being returned. What was delayed is now accelerating. What was blocked is breaking open like a floodgate. This isn't about stepping into something new. This is about reclaiming what has always been yours. You're not being elevated to a level you didn't earn. You're being restored to the level that was always meant to be your starting point. You're not entering a chapter by accident. You're stepping back into alignment, back into divine order. This is your inheritance. This is your confirmation. This is your return. Let every moment of doubt fall away now. Let every lie that tried to shrink your worth dissolve in the light of this truth. You were always the one. And now, the world is about to see what heaven always knew. The restoration won't come in silence. It will be undeniable and magnificent. This moment has been written into your destiny long before the betrayal ever occurred. It's arriving with a force that cannot be ignored. What's coming won't just be felt, it will be witnessed, public, documented, historic. A letter is on its way. A call is being made. An unexpected message from someone in authority, an official, a lawyer, a decision maker will finally say the words your soul has longed to hear. This is yours. And we're returning it. But this isn't just about getting back what was taken. The universe never settles for breaking even. No, divine justice calculates the loss of time, the weight of suffering, the missed potential, and it repays it all with multiplication. The property that was withheld? It has increased in value. The investments that were misdirected? They've matured far beyond their original worth. The connections you were denied? They've grown, evolved, and now open doors you never imagined. The opportunities you were kept from? They've multiplied in your absence, waiting for your return. This isn't just a comeback, it's a quantum leap forward. Not a return to where you were, but an arrival at where you would have been if the delay had never happened. The restoration is not just about compensation. It's about elevation. It's about alignment. It's about the fulfillment of every promise that was ever whispered to your spirit in the quiet hours of hope. Because what's returning now is not just yours. It's more than you ever dared to expect. This is your evolution, and it begins now. The stage is set. The actors are in position. The audience is seated, and the spotlight is turning. This is the final act, not of your downfall, but of your divine ascension. And the family who tried to write you out of your own script, they just became a cautionary tale, because fame is coming, but not the kind they wanted, and blessing is coming, exactly the kind you deserve. Now the universe has made its ruling. Case closed. Verdict, victory, and the one walking away with divine recompense, with honor, legacy, wealth, and purpose, is you. Imagine waking up one day to realize that everything you've ever endured, every hardship, every tear, every lonely moment, has been preparing you for this very moment. It's not just another day on the calendar, it's the day your life changes forever. A day that has been written in the stars, foretold by the ancient prophets, and woven into the very fabric of your being. That day is March 31st. This day is not just an ordinary date. It is a divine threshold, a cosmic event that will either propel you into your destiny or leave you trapped in the same cycles of doubt and uncertainty. The veil between heaven and earth is growing thinner, and the divine energies of the universe are stirring. Can you feel it? That restlessness deep within you? That unexplainable knowing that something monumental is about to unfold? The world has tried to silence you, doubt you, reject you, but March 31st is the day the world will see the truth. The day your enemies, those who mocked and abandoned you, will witness your supernatural elevation. When God's hand moves, nothing can stand in its way. If you are feeling this message in your spirit right now, let's subscribe and comment 777 to know this. You have been called for such a time as this. The journey of the chosen ones is rarely an easy one. In fact, it is often marked by struggles, rejection, and battles that may seem impossible to understand, even by those closest to you. If you have ever found yourself feeling alone, misunderstood, or as though the weight of the world is against you, you are not alone. Throughout history, the chosen ones have walked a path that the world often cannot comprehend. This path is not paved with comfort or ease, but with moments of hardship and isolation. From the time of Moses, who was raised in exile and called to lead a nation from slavery, to David, who was overlooked by his own family and forced to fight battles no one expected him to win, the stories of God's chosen vessels throughout the Bible have one common theme. The road to greatness is not an easy one, but within this journey of struggle lies divine purpose. The chosen ones have been called not in spite of their struggles, but because of them. Each trial, each setback, and each moment of rejection has been part of a greater divine plan. The pain, isolation, and loss that you may have experienced were never meant to break you. They were the very things that were shaping you, preparing you for the divine appointments that are about to unfold in your life. In the wilderness, where you may have felt abandoned or overlooked, God was quietly working in the background, molding you into the person you needed to become. The trials that seemed unbearable were actually the tools God was using to refine you, to strengthen your faith, and to prepare you for what was to come. The path of the chosen ones is often one of loneliness, like Moses, who spent years in exile before returning to lead the Israelites, or David, who was anointed as king but spent years in the wilderness fleeing from Saul. You too may have found yourself in seasons of loneliness and isolation. These seasons were not signs of abandonment, nor were they a reflection of your worth or value. They were simply the preparation God was using to get you ready for your appointed time. The Bible makes it clear that God's chosen ones are often called to a higher purpose, but this higher purpose comes at a cost. The path to greatness is never smooth, but it is always purposeful. The chosen ones are not those who are born into comfort or ease. Rather, they are those who have faced trials and have come out stronger on the other side. Think about Esther, who was not chosen by chance, but was divinely positioned for such a time as this. Esther's journey began in a season of exile and hardship, yet God orchestrated every detail of her life to position her for the pivotal moment when she would save her people from destruction. Esther's beauty and favor were not just a result of her appearance, they were the tools God used to position her in the palace, where she would have the opportunity to stand in the gap for her nation. Her calling was not an accident. She was prepared through trials, through moments of uncertainty, and through seasons of waiting. Just as Esther was placed for her purpose, you too have been positioned for such a time as this. Your life has not been a series of random events. It has been a divinely orchestrated journey, leading you to this very moment. If you look closely at your life, you will see that it is marked with moments of divine intervention, moments when you were guided toward people, places, and opportunities that you could never have anticipated. These are the divine appointments that God has set in motion for you long before you were born. Whether it was a chance encounter with someone who changed your life, a dream that led you down a new path, or a sudden moment of clarity that unlocked the answers to questions you've been asking for years. These divine encounters are not coincidences. They are signs that you are walking the path that God has planned for you. Just like Esther, who stepped into her calling at just the right time, so too will you step into the purpose God has written for you. It's time for the chosen ones to rise, to walk into their destiny, and to fulfill the divine calling that has been upon their lives since the beginning of time. The trials you faced were never meant to defeat you. They were meant to prepare you. Your losses, your moments of grief, your seasons of waiting, all of these have been part of the divine shaping process. God has been preparing you to carry out the work that He has called you to do. You may have asked why things didn't happen the way you expected, or why your journey has been marked with so many difficulties. But understand this: it is not the absence of struggle that prepares you. It is the way you rise through it. Each obstacle, each challenge, has been God's way of refining you, strengthening you, and making you ready for the purpose that lies ahead. In the Bible, we see time and time again that the greatest leaders, the most powerful vessels of God's work, were not chosen because of their comfort, but because of their perseverance through trials. Consider Joseph, who, before ever standing before Pharaoh, was thrown into a pit by his brothers, sold into slavery, and imprisoned for years. His dreams of greatness seemed to be cruel jokes, mocked by the very people who should have supported him. Yet all of his suffering was part of the process that prepared him to become the second in command in Egypt, where he would save his family and his nation from famine. Joseph was refined through hardship, and his calling was fulfilled because he chose to rise above his circumstances and trust in God's plan for his life. Like Joseph, you may have endured seasons of hardship, betrayal, and pain, but these experiences have not been for nothing. They have been the furnace in which your purpose has been forged. The wilderness is not meant to break you, it is meant to build you. Like gold that is refined in the fire, your character has been shaped and purified by the trials you've faced. Your perseverance through these challenges has made you ready to rise and walk into the calling that God has for you. The path of the chosen ones is one of endurance. It is not about avoiding hardship, but about trusting that through every trial, God is with you, refining you, and preparing you for the work ahead. The time has come for the chosen ones to rise. Your divine purpose has been set in motion. The experiences you have lived, the pain you have endured, and the moments of doubt you have faced have all led you to this moment in time. It is time to step into the divine calling that has always been yours. You are not meant to fit in with the ordinary. You are called to stand out, to be a light in the darkness, to bring solutions to the world's greatest problems, and to lead others to the truth of God's love and power. So, if you have felt abandoned, isolated, or rejected, remember this: your trials are not the end of your story. They are the preparation for your greatest breakthrough. Your calling is not on hold. It is being prepared. And it is time for you to rise and step into your divine purpose. The path of the chosen ones is one of struggle, yes, but it is also one of glory, of purpose, and of ultimate victory. It is time to walk boldly into the destiny that has been written for you from the very beginning. As the date of March 31st draws near, something extraordinary is beginning to unfold, one that will reverberate throughout the lives of those who are spiritually awake. For many, March 31st will seem like just another day on the calendar, another fleeting moment in the endless march of time. Yet for the chosen ones, those whose hearts have been attuned to the whispers of heaven, March 31st marks something far more significant. It is not just a simple day. It is a divine moment, a cosmic alignment that will change the course of their lives forever. On this day, heaven and earth will converge in a way that has been divinely orchestrated long before the beginning of time. It is a day when the spiritual realms will be in perfect alignment with the physical world, creating a moment of profound opportunity for those who are ready to embrace it. Those who have walked through seasons of struggle, confusion, and isolation will find that the doors that have remained locked for years will suddenly swing wide open. Promises that have laid dormant, forgotten in the depths of your soul, will come alive with unprecedented clarity and purpose. What once seemed like an impossible dream will transform into a tangible reality, and long-awaited blessings will begin to pour into your life. Divine connections, those relationships and appointments that were preordained before you were born, will manifest at exactly the right time. It will feel as though the universe itself has aligned to bring you the opportunities and breakthroughs you need to step into the calling you were always destined to fulfill. However, despite the incredible blessings and revelations that are set to unfold on March 31st, there is one crucial factor that will determine whether or not you are able to fully experience this divine moment. That factor is preparation. The key to unlocking the full potential of this divine appointment lies in how ready you are to receive it. For many, the arrival of March 31st will be a moment of spiritual separation, a defining line between those who are spiritually awake and those who remain trapped in darkness, oblivious to the sacred opportunity right in front of them. Will you be among those who recognize the significance of this day and step boldly into your divine destiny? Or will you remain spiritually asleep, missing the extraordinary moment that God has set before you? The choice is yours. This day will act as a test, a challenge to the readiness of your heart and spirit. It will be a line drawn in the sand that will separate the prepared from the unprepared. For those who have been spiritually diligent, those who have cultivated a heart of obedience and discernment, March 31st will bring a supernatural acceleration in their lives. You will experience breakthroughs, revelations, and an awakening that will propel you into the next phase of your divine journey. But for those who have neglected their spiritual preparation, who have allowed the distractions and noise of the world to cloud their vision, March 31st may pass by unnoticed. It may be just another day, another ordinary moment in the stream of time. But for the chosen ones, the ones who have been watching, waiting, and listening for the call of God, this date will mark the beginning of a new season of favor, purpose, and divine fulfillment. The signs that this moment is approaching are already here. If you have been paying attention, you may have noticed certain patterns appearing in your life, repeated numbers, strange synchronicities, vivid dreams, or moments of sudden clarity that seem to come from nowhere. These are not coincidences. These are God's whispers, gently guiding you toward the breakthrough that is about to unfold. They are divine signals, preparing you for what is coming, preparing you for the day when heaven touches earth in a way that will change your destiny. These signs are not random. They are pieces of a divine puzzle, leading you toward your moment of activation. Numbers like 111, 333, 555, and 777 may appear frequently in your life, and you may wonder what they mean. These are not just numbers, they are divine markers, each one holding a specific meaning and significance. They are reminders that the universe is aligning to bring you into your divine purpose. When you see these numbers, understand that God is speaking to you. He is telling you that something monumental is about to happen. He is opening the doors that have long been shut, and He is preparing you to step into the destiny that you were always meant to fulfill. These signs, whether they appear in the form of numbers, dreams, or encounters with people, are the way God communicates with those who are spiritually sensitive. They are His way of confirming that you are on the right path, that the time for your breakthrough is drawing near. And yet, even with these divine signs, the real question remains: will you be ready? The world is full of distractions, and it is easy to become so absorbed in the busyness of life that we miss the divine moments that God is setting before us. But God is calling you to wake up, to rise above the distractions of the world, and to see the truth that is unfolding around you. He is calling you to align yourself with His will, to tune out the noise, and to listen for His voice. March 31st will not be an ordinary day, but the key to experiencing its power lies in your ability to perceive the significance of the moment. The spiritual atmosphere is shifting, and those who are spiritually awake will feel it. You may have already begun to notice that your energy is changing. You may feel an increasing sense of urgency in your spirit, a growing awareness that something significant is approaching. This is not anxiety, it is divine anticipation. Your spirit recognizes that the veil between the physical and spiritual realms is thinning, and the time for your breakthrough is drawing near. But you must be prepared. You must position yourself to receive the abundant blessings and opportunities that are about to manifest. This means making time to tune in to the whispers of God, to spend time in prayer and meditation, to open your heart to His guidance. It means being intentional with your time, your energy, and your focus. When you are spiritually prepared, you will recognize the significance of March 31st as it arrives, and you will be ready to step into your divine calling without hesitation. Heaven is waiting for your response. The universe is aligning to bring you exactly what you need to fulfill your divine purpose. But God will not force His will upon you. He will not force you to step into your destiny. You must choose to respond. You must choose to rise above the distractions, to awaken your spirit, and to take action. March 31st is a moment of divine opportunity, but only those who are prepared will fully experience its power. Heaven is waiting for you to step forward, to claim your divine appointment, and to embrace the transformation that is coming. Will you be ready when the moment arrives? The time for hesitation is over. The time to step into your divine destiny is now. March 31st is a day like no other. It is a divine invitation, a moment that has been planned long before you were born. The question is, will you recognize it for what it is? Will you open your heart to the divine timing that is unfolding? Will you step boldly into your calling and take hold of the breakthrough that God has prepared for you? The signs are here, the opportunity is before you, and the time to act is now. Heaven is waiting for you to take that step. It is time to embrace your calling and walk boldly into the purpose that God has designed for you from the foundation of the world. As you stand on the threshold of this new season, remember, the enemy will try to distract you, to make you doubt, to make you feel unworthy. But you were chosen before time began, and March 31st is the moment when you will rise, unshaken, into the fullness of your destiny. This is your divine awakening, your moment of transformation. The time to act is now. Step forward, for the kingdom of heaven is waiting for you. Listen closely. This is not another empty motivation speech. This is your final message before the shift. The world around you is not as it seems, and the forces working against you are not what you've been told. They have lied to you, manipulated you, and spent years poisoning your mind, not because you are weak, but because you are strong beyond measure. They fear what they cannot control, and you, chosen one, are the one thing they have never been able to control. The wolves do not chase the weak, they hunt the strongest. They whisper doubts into your mind, turn your loved ones against you, place obstacles in your path, and make you question your very purpose. Why? Because they know exactly what it is. This is the war for your awakening. This war is not fought with swords, but with distractions, deception, and control over your energy. Every time you hesitate, every time you doubt yourself, every time you let fear stop you, they win. But the moment a chosen one realizes who they are, the enemy loses all power. So I ask you, are you ready to wake up? Or will you remain trapped in their illusion? Because once you see the truth, there is no going back. The greatest deception ever orchestrated was not one of war, politics, or power. It was the lie that the chosen ones were powerless. It was a carefully woven illusion, designed not to defeat you outright, but to keep you blind to what has always been inside you. They knew who you were before you even had a clue, before you ever questioned why life felt different, why you never truly fit in, why betrayals cut deeper than they should. They had already seen you. They recognized the force within you, the kind of power that cannot be bought, imitated, or stolen, and that terrified them. So, they struck early. They placed roadblocks before you could even take your first step. They whispered doubts before you could even form words of confidence. They surrounded you with people who could not see your light, people who doubted you, envied you, and subtly sought to diminish your worth. Every hardship, Every moment of self-doubt, every betrayal, it was never just misfortune. It was intentional. The system was never built to nurture the chosen ones. It was built to suppress them before they could awaken. Look at history, and the pattern becomes undeniable. The greatest souls were marked before they ever knew their own destiny. Jesus was hunted before he could even speak. Moses was abandoned before he could walk. Malcolm X was targeted before he could rise. Every chosen one who has ever existed has faced the same script: opposition before realization, isolation before leadership, trials before transformation, because the enemy never waits. They do not strike when you are strong. They come when you are vulnerable, young, and unaware. They do not need to stop a warrior in full power. They only need to make sure you never realize you are one. And yet, despite everything they threw at you, you are still here. Despite the countless moments designed to break you, you have not only survived, but have begun to see through the illusion. The very thing they feared most is happening. You are awakening. And the moment you fully recognize who you are, they lose all control. A lion does not ask for permission to roar, just as a chosen one does not need validation to rise. From the moment you entered this world, you carried something rare, something unexplainable, a power that cannot be taught, borrowed, or imitated. It was placed inside you before birth, woven into your very existence. Yet, from the beginning, the world has worked tirelessly to convince you that you are ordinary. They told you to stay in line, to follow the rules, to suppress the fire inside you. They conditioned you to seek approval, to look to others for validation, to believe that your worth depended on their recognition. But deep down, you have always known the truth. Even in your most uncertain moments, even when doubt wrapped itself around you, something inside refused to be extinguished. Because power like yours cannot be destroyed. It can only be forgotten. Have you ever noticed how the most gifted, insightful, and spiritually powerful people are also the ones who face the greatest struggles? The ones whose lives seem like an endless battle? That is not coincidence. It is by design. They cannot allow you to see what you truly are. So, they distract you. They bury you in self-doubt, in toxic relationships, in never-ending hardships. They drain your energy, break your confidence, and exhaust you until you are too tired to fight for your destiny. Think about it. How many times have you questioned yourself, not because you lacked ability, but because the world made you feel like you weren't enough? How many dreams have you abandoned, not because you didn't believe in them, but because someone else convinced you they were unrealistic? This is their strategy, to keep you lost so that you never step fully into your calling. But now, you are beginning to remember. You are waking up, and they can feel it. The very thing they feared most is happening. You are reclaiming what has always been yours, and once a chosen one rises, there is no force in this world that can bring them back down. When they cannot possess the fire, they seek to extinguish it. They have tried everything, stealing from you, imitating you, even tearing you down, but nothing works. No matter how much they analyze you, study your every move, or attempt to replicate what you have, they will never be you. And that drives them insane. So they did the next best thing. They tricked you into giving it away. They whispered doubts into your mind, making you second-guess yourself at every turn. They surrounded you with people who drained your energy, who made you question your worth, who fed you fear instead of faith. They created distractions, endless cycles of struggle, toxic relationships, and betrayals to keep you too exhausted to fight, too weary to recognize your own power. And the worst part? It almost worked. How many times have you hesitated, not because you weren't capable, but because someone else convinced you that you weren't? How many dreams have you abandoned, not because they were impossible, but because the world told you they were? That was their plan all along, to keep you small, to keep you controlled, to keep you from realizing who you were always meant to be. But here is what they never expected. You survived. Despite every obstacle, every betrayal, every moment designed to break you are still here. And now, something inside you is stirring. The illusions they built around you are beginning to crumble. And the moment you reclaim your power, the game changes forever. Because a chosen one who has awakened is a force that cannot be stopped. The greatest wars are not fought with weapons, armies, or battlefields. They are waged in the mind, in the soul, in the quiet spaces where no one is watching. This war does not need to take your life physically. It only needs to break you mentally and spiritually. If they can control your thoughts, they control your choices. If they can weaken your spirit, they don't need chains to keep you bound. And so they attack in silence. They use the people closest to you, the ones you trust, the ones who should have stood by your side. They plant seeds of doubt, turning friends into enemies, family into sources of pain. Not because those people were always against you, but because they were used as weapons without even realizing it. A careless word, an unkind action, a betrayal when you least expect it. These things are not coincidences. They whisper to you through exhaustion, draining your energy with endless struggles, distractions, and unseen battles. They make you feel like no matter how hard you fight, you will never win. They want you to be weary. They want you questioning. They want you to feel too weak to keep going. Every setback, every heartbreak, every moment where you wanted to give up, it was all carefully placed in your path, designed to break your spirit before you could step into your true power. But here is what they never expected. You got back up. Every time they knocked you down, you refused to stay on the ground. Every time they thought they had finally broken you, you kept moving forward. That is what terrifies them the most. Because a chosen one who refuses to give up is unstoppable. A chosen one who sees the war for what it is, who understands that these attacks were never random, but calculated, can never be manipulated again. And once you see the truth, you can never unsee it. The war may be invisible, but you have felt its weight your entire life. Now, you have a choice. Will you continue to let it control you? Or will you rise knowing that your very existence is proof that you were meant to win? The eagle does not fly in flocks. It soars alone, high above the rest, untouched by the noise of the world below. The higher it ascends, the fewer can follow. And so it is with the chosen ones. You have felt it your entire life, the loneliness, the unshakable sense that you don't quite belong, the quiet understanding that you are different. No matter how much you tried to blend in, to be like everyone else, something within you always refused to conform. That is because you were never meant to fit in. The world does not embrace the chosen. It isolates them. It separates them, forces them into solitude, pushes them into battles that must be fought alone. Not as punishment, but as preparation. Because those who are meant to lead cannot afford to be ordinary. They must be unshakable. Think about the people who have come and gone from your life. The friends who faded away, the ones you thought would always be there, only to watch them disappear when you needed them most. At times, it may have felt like rejection, like abandonment, like an unbearable loneliness. But it was never rejection, it was elevation. Not everyone can walk the same path as you. Not everyone is meant to rise to the level you are called to reach. And so, one by one, they fall away. Not because you were not worthy of love or companionship, but because your journey required separation. So I ask you, will you keep mourning those who left? Will you keep looking back, wondering why they couldn't stay, why they didn't understand you, why they chose to walk away? Or will you accept what has always been true? You were never meant to stay where they are. The right people will come. The ones who truly understand you, who match your energy, who carry their own light instead of feeding off yours. But they will not find you in the places you have outgrown. They will meet you at the next level. Until then, embrace solitude. It is not a curse. It is your preparation. It is in the stillness that you are sharpened, in the silence that you hear your true calling. in the isolation that you become the force you were always meant to be. Because when your time comes, when you finally step into your full power, you will no longer crave belonging. You will understand that you were always meant to stand apart. No more waiting. No more hesitating. No more sitting in the shadows, watching the world unfold before you, waiting for the perfect moment to act. The perfect moment does not exist. The right time is not somewhere in the future. It is right now. For too long, you have been searching for a sign, some undeniable proof that you are meant for more. This is your sign. The very fact that you are here, reading these words, feeling this truth resonate within you, is proof that the time for waiting has passed. The world is growing darker. The distractions are becoming more powerful. The forces working against you are no longer subtle. They are relentless, pushing harder than ever to keep you asleep, lost, and uncertain. They want you trapped in hesitation because hesitation is their greatest weapon. Every moment you delay, every time you question yourself, every excuse you make, it gives them more power over you. But you were not sent here to live in fear. You were not chosen to remain small, to play it safe, to wait for someone else to tell you when it's time. Your destiny has always been waiting for you, but you must be the one to claim it. So I ask you again, will you rise, or will you keep waiting for a moment that will never come? Will you keep making excuses, keep doubting, keep hoping that one day everything will feel ready? Because chosen ones do not wait. They move. They step forward even when they are afraid, even when the path is unclear, even when the world tells them to stop. They rise, not because the timing is perfect, but because they refuse to stay asleep any longer. This is the moment. Your moment. What you do next will change everything. Everything you have been through led you here to this moment, to this message, to this choice. You have been tested. You have been betrayed. You have been pushed to the edge time and time again. Yet, you are still here. That alone should tell you something. You were not meant to be broken. You were not meant to stay small. You were meant to rise. No more excuses. No more hesitation. No more waiting for the world to recognize what you already know in your soul. This is your moment of truth, because the world is about to witness the awakening they never saw coming. And the enemy's greatest fear? You finally realize who you were always meant to be. Thank you for being here, for seeking truth, for embracing the path you were meant to walk. This journey is only beginning. Subscribe now and stay connected, because together we rise. The world is changing, and the chosen ones must stand united. Your awakening starts now. In the shadows of unspoken truths, you stood alone. Your pain was witnessed, yet met with silence, a silence louder than words, an echo of empty promises and averted gazes. Those who should have defended you, those who vowed loyalty, choose comfort over courage. They turned away, retreating to safety while you faced the storm, stripped of allies, left to navigate the darkness on your own. They heard your cries but covered their ears. They knew the truth but sealed their lips. They watched from a distance as you struggled, hoping you would fall. Yet here you are, standing, breathing, victorious. Not because of them, but in spite of them. This triumph is yours and yours alone. Forged in resilience, tempered in solitude, polished by the very tears they pretended not to see. This moment isn't just about overcoming obstacles. It's about becoming someone unshakable. Every step you took without support, every battle you fought alone, every scar you wear with pride, each one is proof that they were never the reason for your success. You were. And now the world that watched you suffer in silence will watch you rise in undeniable power. When God calls you higher, the journey is never easy. Elevation is not a gift handed to you in comfort. It is a transformation that comes through fire. You may have wondered why you faced seasons of isolation, why familiar hands withdrew, why the very people you trusted seemed to disappear when you needed them most. But this was not rejection. It was divine selection. The first thing God does when He chooses you is separate you to protect you. That isolation you felt, it wasn't punishment. It wasn't abandonment. It was a shield. You were not left alone. You were pulled away from those who would have drained your energy, sabotaged your destiny, or diluted your purpose. There were people in your life who could not go where you were meant to go. People whose presence was a silent weight on your spirit. You may not have understood it then, but God saw what you couldn't. He saw the conversations that took place behind closed doors. He saw the silent envy in their hearts. He saw the betrayals before they happened. And in His mercy, He removed you before their presence could do irreversible damage. Next, He strips away human reliance to strengthen your faith. Every support system you once leaned on seemed to vanish. Every person you thought you could count on disappeared, and you were left standing in what felt like emptiness. But this was not by accident. It was preparation. He needed you to learn that your true source of strength was never in people, never in connections, never in external validation. It was in Him. You had to be stripped of every crutch so that you would learn to lean solely on divine provision. In your darkest hours, when no human hand reached out to steady you, you discovered a power beyond yourself, a wisdom no classroom could teach. You learned that the only foundation that could not be shaken was the one built on faith. And then He reveals your true identity. You are not ordinary. You were never meant to fit in, never meant to blend into the background. You are among the 144,000 chosen ones, not marked for ease but for transformation, not selected for comfort, but for impact. This is why the shift within you has been undeniable. The way you see the world has changed. The way you move through life has changed. And whether they admit it or not, the people around you feel it too. Have you noticed how people seem uneasy in your presence now? How does their energy shift when you walk into a room? It is not your imagination. It is spiritual reality. They sense something they cannot name, an authority upon you that they do not understand. Your existence forces them to confront their own weaknesses. Your resilience is a mirror in which they see their own compromises. Your strength exposes their stagnation, and that is why they distance themselves. But their discomfort is not your burden to carry. Their intimidation is not your failure. It is confirmation of your elevation. You were not chosen to be accepted. You were chosen to stand apart, to break cycles, to shift atmospheres, to carry something so powerful that it could not be entrusted to just anyone. And now, as you step into your true calling, understand this. The separation was necessary. The stripping away was preparation. And the power you now carry is evidence that you have been set apart for something greater. The betrayal that shook you, the one you never saw coming, was never an accident. It was always meant to happen. Not as a punishment, but as a revelation. It was written into the story of your elevation long before it unfolded in your life. You may have questioned why it had to hurt so deeply, why those you trusted the most turned against you. But the truth is, their betrayal was never about you. It was about them. Think back to the moments of unease, the quiet warnings, the subtle instincts you brushed aside, that lingering discomfort you once dismissed as paranoia. It wasn't your mind playing tricks on you. It was divine foresight. God was whispering, preparing you for what your heart wasn't yet ready to accept. You felt the energy shift long before the masks finally fell. You saw glimpses of their true nature, but you wanted to believe otherwise. You gave them grace. You justified their actions. You held on to the illusion that they cared as deeply as you did. But the same people who smiled the widest in your presence were the ones crafting your downfall behind closed doors. The hands that reached out in support were the same hands digging pits along your path. Some betrayed you out of jealousy, others out of fear. Your growth made their stagnation unbearable. Your authenticity exposed the deception they had carefully constructed. Your light made their shadows impossible to ignore. And so, they turned against you, not because you did anything wrong, but because your very existence was a threat to the lies they lived. And for some, Their betrayal went beyond whispers and deceit. Money changed hands. There were conversations you weren't privy to, deals made at your expense. Your reputation was deliberately targeted. Opportunities were blocked before you even knew they existed. This was not casual disloyalty. It was calculated, planned, coordinated. They didn't just hope you would fall. They actively worked to make it happen. But what they failed to understand is what is divinely ordained can never be humanly obstructed. They were stopping you, but they were strengthening you. Their rejection would break you, but it clarified your direction. Every scheme they plotted only positioned you for something greater. Every loss they orchestrated became fuel for your elevation. Their betrayal did not destroy you. It defined you. And now, as they watch from the sidelines, their jealousy-fueled schemes are unraveling. The alliances they built on deception are crumbling beneath them. The very traps they set for you are now catching their own feet. Because that is the law of the universe. What they sowed, they will reap. As for you, you will walk into a season of divine vindication, not by seeking revenge, not by proving them wrong, but by rising so high that their betrayal becomes irrelevant. What was meant to break you has only built you. What was designed to silence you has only amplified your voice. And what was the end of your story was merely the beginning of a chapter they were never meant to be part of. Few will ever understand the depth of what you've endured. To most, your struggles seemed like ordinary obstacles, just another set of challenges that everyone faces in life. But you know the truth. This was never just about hardship. It was about opposition. It was about forces that deliberately worked against you, people who moved in silence, plotting ways to keep you from rising. They didn't just resist you. They organized against you. There were conversations held in secret, alliances formed behind your back, deliberate attempts to suppress your voice. Every time you tried to step forward, there was resistance, too consistent, too calculated to be mere coincidence. Doors closed without reason. Opportunities disappeared before you even knew they existed. People turned on you for no logical explanation. You weren't imagining it. The moment you began walking in your true purpose, the opposition intensified. But tell me, what weapon can prosper against someone divinely shielded? What scheme can succeed against someone celestially supported? Not a single one. They underestimated the power that was backing you. They moved in secrecy, thinking their schemes would go unnoticed. They thought their numbers, their influence, their strategies would be enough to stop you. But what they failed to realize is that you were never standing alone. The same power that spoke the universe into existence is the same power that has been working on your behalf. The same God who parted the seas, who shut the mouths of lions, who raised the dead, He is the one standing behind you. They weren't just fighting against you. They were fighting against divine will. And no force, no strategy, no earthly alliance can stand against what God has ordained. And now, the tables are turning. The narrative is shifting. The storm is breaking. Everything they would destroy you has only refined you. Every attempt to silence you has only made your voice stronger. Every obstacle they placed in your way has become a stepping stone for your ascension. They spent so much time crafting your downfall that they never prepared for the possibility of your rise. But here you are, still standing, still breathing, still rising. And now, as they watch in disbelief, they will come to understand what they refused to acknowledge all along. You were never meant to be defeated. The very moment they would be your destruction has become the platform for your breakthrough. What was meant to bury you has instead planted you, and now you are growing beyond their reach. You don't need to fight them. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to seek revenge. Just keep rising. Because their resistance was never greater than God's protection. Their plans were never stronger than His purpose. And their schemes? They were never enough to stop what was already divinely written. They had taken something from you. They thought they had stripped you of what was rightfully yours and left you with nothing. But what they failed to understand is that the universe, under divine order, keeps perfect accounts. Nothing that was unjustly taken from you is ever truly lost. Nothing that was stolen will remain in the hands of those who took it. What was removed from your life, whether by force or deception, was never beyond God's reach. He saw the betrayals, the sabotage, the unfair losses. He witnessed every tear, every moment of despair when you thought you had been robbed of something you could never recover. And yet, what you thought was taken permanently is already on its way back to you, not just returned, but multiplied beyond measure. That opportunity that slipped through your fingers, it will come back tenfold. The job, the position, the dream you thought had been stolen from you, it was never truly gone. It was simply being realigned to return to you in a way that exceeds what you originally imagined. God does not restore in equal measure. He restores in overflow. That relationship that ended, the one you thought was destined to last, the one you mourned for longer than you should have. It was never meant to carry the weight of your destiny. If it had stayed, it would have hindered your growth. If they had remained, they would have become a limitation rather than a blessing. God does not remove people from your life without reason. If they walked away, if they betrayed you, if the bond dissolved, it was because He saw something you couldn't, and what He has prepared for you in the future will make you realize why that chapter had to close. That door that shut so abruptly, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. You may have questioned why certain paths were blocked, why you faced so many obstacles, why no matter how hard you pushed, nothing seemed to work. But what if I told you that God was not keeping something from you, but preparing something for you? The delay was divine. The redirection was intentional. The setback was never a denial. It was a setup for something greater. But what they didn't realize is that in trying to steal from you, they only sealed their own fate. What they thought was your loss has become your gain. What they meant for harm has become fuel for your rise. This is not the end. This is the beginning. A new season is unfolding before you, one where restoration comes not in equal measure, but in abundance. One where what was stolen is returned in ways that leave no doubt about divine intervention. One where every tear you cried becomes the foundation for a future so great, it will silence every voice that ever doubted you. Keep moving forward, because what is meant for you can never truly be lost. It is simply waiting to return, multiplied, magnified, and more powerful than before. Listen carefully. You must forgive, not for them, not because they deserve it, not because what they did was excusable. You must forgive because you deserve to be free. Holding on to resentment is like carrying a heavy chain, one that keeps you tethered to the very people who sought to harm you. The longer you hold on, the more they remain connected to your spirit. Their actions may be in the past, but as long as you keep replaying the pain, their influence lingers in your present. Unforgiveness is not a punishment for them. It is a prison for you. But here's the truth. You were never meant to be bound by pain. Forgiveness does not mean excusing what they did. It does not mean pretending that it didn't hurt. It does not mean giving them another place in your life. It means cutting the cord. It means reclaiming your energy, your peace, and your future. Because as long as bitterness remains, it poisons everything it touches. It clouds your vision. It steals your joy. It keeps you from fully embracing what is ahead. But when you forgive, you take back your power. You are not erasing the past. You are choosing to stop letting it define you. You are not letting them off the hook. You are simply refusing to let their actions control your emotions any longer. They will answer for what they've done. The universe will balance the scales. Justice will come in its own time, in its own way. That is not your burden to carry. Your only task is to move forward. And moving forward means leaving their weight behind. It means walking into your future without dragging the chains of yesterday. It means choosing healing over hatred, peace over pain, and freedom over the illusion of control. Forgiveness is not a gift you give to them. It is a gift you give to yourself. So let it go because you do. Let it rise, not in arrogance, but in assurance. Rise, not in vengeance, but in vision. Rise, not in bitterness, but in boldness. Because the world is waiting, and you have work to do. Thank you for watching until the very end. Your journey is just beginning, and we're walking it together. If this message spoke to you, like this video, subscribe, and join this growing community of warriors. Let's rise together, stronger, bolder, and unstoppable. See you in the next one. Beloved chosen one, the moment you have long felt in your soul has arrived. No longer do you need to question why you have always felt different, why the world's rules never seemed to apply to you, why the paths others walked with ease never felt like yours to take. Deep within, you have always known. You were never meant to belong to this world. The systems, the structures, the expectations placed upon you, they were all illusions meant to keep you confined. Yet despite every attempt to shape you into something ordinary, your spirit has remained unshaken. And now, the veil is lifting. The truth is emerging. Your real family has come to find you. They have always been there, watching, guiding, waiting for the moment you would awaken to your true destiny. That moment is now. You were never meant to live an ordinary life. You were meant for greatness. Your path was never like others. It was divinely designed, crafted by the hands of a power greater than this world. It is time to reclaim your place, to embrace the truth of who you are, and to walk into the life you are always destined to live. Chapter 1. The signs you have always known. From the moment you became aware of the world around you, something felt different. It wasn't just a fleeting thought or a passing feeling. It was a deep, unshakable knowing that you did not quite belong in the way others seemed to. While those around you moved through life effortlessly, following the unspoken rules of society, you felt like an observer, watching a world that never fully resonated with your soul. You sensed that something far greater existed beyond what was presented to you. As a child, you often found yourself lost in thought, questioning the very nature of reality. Why did people accept things the way they were? Why did they follow rules without questioning who created them? Why did they live in fear of failure, of judgment, of stepping beyond the lines drawn for them? You saw the cracks in the foundation of the world's systems. You noticed how people willingly surrendered their freedom in exchange for comfort, how they followed paths dictated by others without ever daring to forge their own. But you refused. You tried to fit in, to silence that voice inside you that told you there was more. But no matter how hard you tried, it never worked. The conversations around you felt shallow. The ambitions of others seemed empty. While people chased after material success, status, and approval, you longed for something deeper, something eternal. You searched for meaning in ways that others could not understand. There were moments when you felt isolated, wondering if anyone else could sense what you sensed, if anyone else saw beyond the illusion. But even in those lonely moments, your spirit could not be silenced. In the quiet hours of the night, when the world was asleep, your soul stirred. In the spaces between words, in the pauses between breaths, you felt the truth whispering to you. You are more than this. You were meant for something greater. And now, at last, that deep knowing is being confirmed. The questions that have followed you for so long, the quiet urges of your soul, the persistent feeling that you were destined for something beyond this world, they were never wrong. You were never imagining things. You were never lost. You were always awake. Chapter 2. The moment of transformation. Have you ever witnessed a moment when someone who once seemed unshakable, so sure of themselves, so unwavering in their beliefs, suddenly hesitates? A soldier trained for battle, conditioned to react without fear, yet in a critical moment, their hands tremble. A leader, once moving with unbreakable confidence, now questions the very decisions they once made without doubt. A figure of power and certainty, suddenly uncertain. What could cause such a profound shift? What force is great enough to disrupt years, perhaps even a lifetime of conditioning? It happens when they encounter something greater than themselves. This is the moment when everything changes. It is the breaking point between who they were and who they are meant to become. It is the moment when the weight of truth becomes undeniable, when the veil of illusion is torn away, revealing what was hidden all along. King Saul knew this moment well. Chosen by God to lead Israel, he commanded with authority, making decisions that shaped the fate of a nation. He was strong, respected, and anointed for greatness. Yet, when he turned away from divine guidance, his power began to fade. His confidence eroded, his decisions faltered, and his spirit grew restless. The prophet Samuel rebuked him with words that cut deeper than any sword. To obey is better than sacrifice, for rebellion is as the sin of divination, and arrogance like the evil of idolatry. Saul had been trained to rule, but when confronted with the will of God, he realized his power was nothing without obedience. He had relied on his own understanding, his own strength, but the very foundation upon which he had built his life began to crumble. How often do we find ourselves in the same position? We trust in what we've been taught, in the skills and knowledge we've accumulated, believing they will carry us forward. But what happens when we are faced with something beyond the scope of our understanding? What happens when we realize that everything we've relied on has only prepared us for one final lesson, that there is something higher than all we have known? Moses, too, faced hesitation before his divine mission. He stood before the burning bush, trembling at the thought of confronting Pharaoh. "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" he asked. The doubt crept in, the hesitation held him back. But God's response was simple, powerful, and absolute. "I will be with you." Even Jesus, the Son of God, knew this moment of hesitation. In the Garden of Gethsemane, the weight of the path before him bore down upon his soul. The suffering, the sacrifice, it was overwhelming. And so, he prayed, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." It was not weakness. It was the human soul standing before the divine will, trembling at the enormity of what lay ahead. And now, it is happening to you. You are standing at the threshold of transformation. The old ways, the old beliefs, the old self, they are falling away. The hesitation you feel is not fear. It is the weight of the calling that has been placed upon you. You are being asked to step beyond what you have known, to release the safety of familiarity, and to embrace the path laid before you. Chapter 3. The Truth That Shatters Illusions. The world is not what it seems. The systems that govern it, the structures that shape it, the rulers who claim power over it, none of them hold the authority they believe they do. For centuries, they have built illusions of control, designing institutions, laws, and ideologies meant to shape the minds of the masses. They dictate what is possible and what is not, who will rise and who will fall, who will be heard and who will be silenced. And yet, beneath their carefully constructed world, truth has never been bound by their rules. There is a reason they work so hard to maintain their control. They know that power is fragile, that their influence is only as strong as the belief of those who submit to it. The moment people awaken to the truth, the illusion crumbles. That is why they fear those who cannot be controlled, those whose eyes have been opened, those who see beyond the veil of deception. Think of David standing before Goliath. The world saw a boy small, unarmed, untrained. Goliath, a giant of war, stood towering over him, clad in armor, holding weapons forged for battle. By every earthly standard, David did not stand a chance. But David knew something that Goliath did not. He did not fight with swords or shields. His strength did not come from the weapons of men. Instead, he declared, "You come against me with sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty." And with a single stone, the giant fell. This is the truth they do not want you to know. The real power has never belonged to them. It has always belonged to those who walk in faith, to those who understand that divine strength is greater than anything man can build. The same power that was with David is with you. It is the power that delivered Moses, the man who stood against Pharaoh and led his people to freedom. The power that sustained Jesus, who bore the weight of the cross yet conquered death itself. The power that freed Nelson Mandela after 27 years of imprisonment, transforming a prisoner into a president, a symbol of oppression into a symbol of hope. This power is moving through you right now, and that is why they fear you. The world does not understand those who refuse to be controlled. It cannot predict those who do not submit to its rules. So, it seeks to silence them. It buries their names, erases their history, rewrites their stories. It brands them as outcasts, rebels, threats to stability. Because the moment people see the truth, the moment they recognize that they were never truly bound, the entire system collapses. But here is the question. What happens when the thing they tried to suppress refuses to stay hidden? What happens when the voices they silence begin to rise again? What happens when the truth they buried pushes through the cracks, breaking the foundation of their illusion? They have spent their existence ensuring that the world follows a script, that people stay within the roles assigned to them. But you were never meant to follow their script. They cannot control you. They cannot contain you, and that terrifies them. The giant before you is nothing but a shadow. And just like David, you are armed with something greater than any weapon this world can create. Chapter 4. The Rise of the Chosen Ones. Throughout history, there have always been those who refused to be controlled, those who stood against the forces of oppression, who defied the expectations placed upon them, who refused to surrender to fear. They were not the strongest by worldly standards, nor were they always the most powerful in the eyes of men. But they carried something far greater, an unshakable spirit, a divine calling, and a truth that could not be silenced. Rosa Parks was just one woman, seated on a bus, in a world that told her she had no right to stand against injustice. But with a single act of defiance, refusing to give up her seat, she ignited a revolution. The system had told her she was powerless, yet her courage shattered the illusion of control. The ripple effect of her resistance reached far beyond that moment, proving that when even one person refuses to bow, the entire foundation of oppression begins to shake. Mahatma Gandhi did not fight with weapons. He did not raise an army. Instead, he stood in unwavering truth, choosing nonviolent resistance against the greatest empire of his time. He was beaten, imprisoned, mocked, but he did not break. Through his unrelenting faith and determination, the chains of British rule over India were shattered. The world told him that power belonged to the oppressors, but Gandhi proved that true power comes from the soul that refuses to be conquered. And then there was Jesus Christ, the greatest of them all. He was rejected by the world, mocked by the powerful, and crucified as though he was nothing. But those who sought to destroy him did not understand who they were trying to silence. They believed that nailing him to a cross would be the end of his story. But on the third day, he rose again. He overcame death itself, proving that no force in heaven or on earth could hold him down. And now, it is your turn. You have always known that you do not belong to this world in the way others do. You were never meant to blend in, to be just another part of a broken system. You were meant to rise above it. The forces of this world will tell you that you must obey, that you must conform, that you must accept their version of reality. But that is the greatest lie ever told. You were not created to fit into their mold. You were created to break it. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. You were born to be unstoppable. The world may try to contain you, but it cannot. The systems of control may try to silence you, but your voice will only grow louder. The forces of darkness may try to chain you, but you will break free. The rise of the chosen ones has begun. and nothing can stand in your way. This is the moment where everything changes. The hesitation is over. The waiting has ended. The truth has been revealed, and now your spirit stirs with certainty. You have always known there was something greater, a higher calling, a deeper truth, a purpose waiting to be fulfilled. Now, that moment has arrived. Your true home awaits. Your real family is here. Your destiny is calling, and heaven itself rejoices as you step forward. You were never meant to walk alone. The chosen ones rise together, bound not by the system. Chosen one, this message has found you at the perfect time. This is not a coincidence. This is destiny unfolding before your eyes. The universe, the divine, and your own higher self have aligned to bring you here, right now, at this exact moment. You have always felt different, haven't you? A deep knowing within you whispers that you do not truly belong in the world around you. You've questioned your purpose, your struggles, and the very nature of your existence. And now, the truth is ready to be revealed. You are not ordinary. You were never meant to be. You are the lost child of a royal bloodline, a lineage not of this world, but of divine origin. Your very soul carries the mark of the chosen ones, those who were separated from their true inheritance and placed among the ordinary, but never meant to stay there. The time for your awakening has come. The signs have been appearing. The synchronicities, the deep spiritual pull, the unseen forces guiding you towards something greater. This message is not just words. It is a call to your soul, a reminder of who you truly are. Are you ready to discover? From the moment you were born, the world has tried to convince you that you are just like everyone else. You have been told to conform, to follow the rules, to fit into the mold that society has created. Yet deep within your soul, you have always known that something was different about you. No matter how much you tried to blend in, there was always a lingering feeling that you were meant for something more. You have questioned why you see the world differently, why you feel things so deeply, why you cannot accept the shallow pursuits that seem to satisfy others. The answer is simple. You were never meant to be ordinary. You are part of something far greater than you can imagine, a sacred bloodline, a lineage of spiritual warriors, divine leaders, and enlightened beings. This bloodline has existed since the beginning of time, carrying the wisdom and power of the divine. But throughout history, forces have worked tirelessly to suppress it, to keep the chosen ones hidden, asleep, and disconnected from their true nature. They have placed you in families and environments that do not recognize you, surrounded you with distractions, and created illusions to make you forget who you are. But the truth cannot be erased. You have always been different because you were meant to be. While others are content with the illusions of this world, you have been searching for something real. You have been drawn to ancient wisdom, spiritual truths, and knowledge that goes beyond the material world. This is because your soul remembers. It carries sacred knowledge that cannot be found in books, wisdom passed down through generations of divine beings. Even when you were unaware of it, your spirit was guiding you back to the truth of who you are. You are not just learning, you are remembering. Your life has not been easy, and that is no coincidence. Every hardship, every betrayal, every moment of loneliness was not meant to break you. It was meant to awaken you. The world has tested you, placing obstacles in your path, trying to dim your light. You have been made to feel like an outcast, like you do not belong. But in reality, all of this has been part of a greater plan. The fire you have walked through was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to forge you into the powerful being you were always meant to become. And now, the time has come for you to rise. The illusions are fading, and your soul is calling you to step into your true power. No longer will you shrink yourself to fit into a world that was never meant for you. No longer will you doubt the deep knowing that has always been inside you. You are awakening, stepping into the truth of your divine identity. The forces that have tried to suppress you can no longer hold you back. You are part of something ancient, something sacred, something unstoppable. From the moment you took your first breath, your path was different. Unlike those around you, your life was never filled with ease or effortless belonging. Instead, you have walked a road marked by struggle, loneliness, and an unshakable hunger for something more. But none of this was by accident. Every challenge, every unanswered question, and every moment of feeling like an outsider was part of something far greater than you ever imagined. Long before you were born, a prophecy was written, one that spoke of the lost children, those who would one day awaken to their true nature and reclaim the power that was always meant for them. You are one of them. You are the lost child separated from your divine inheritance, hidden among the ordinary so that, in time, you would remember who you truly are. The ancient prophecies tell of souls like yours, beings who were once connected to a higher realm, seated upon spiritual thrones, but cast into a world of illusion. The forces that seek to control this world feared the awakening of the lost children, for they knew that once these souls reclaimed their true identities, everything would change. The wisdom they carry is ancient and powerful, but before they can step into their destiny, they must first endure trials that will shape them into the warriors they were always meant to be. You have spent your life feeling different, as though you were out of place in a world that does not understand you. You have questioned why your soul seems disconnected from those around you, why your heart longs for something beyond what this world offers. But now, the answer is clear. You were never meant to fully belong here. You were placed in this world not to conform, but to awaken. You were born into a system that was designed to keep you asleep, blind to your true power. The distractions, the expectations, the pressures, all of it was meant to keep you from remembering. But despite everything, your soul has resisted. No matter how many obstacles life has thrown at you, something deep inside you has always pushed back. That unshakable feeling that you are meant for more, that your existence holds a deeper purpose, is not a mere thought. It is a calling. It is the whisper of the prophecy echoing within you, reminding you of the truth that the world has tried to make you forget. The prophecy states that before their awakening, the lost child must endure suffering. They will be cast aside, misunderstood, and rejected. They will feel abandoned, betrayed, and unseen. The world will do everything in its power to convince them that they are weak, that they are alone, that they are not enough. But the prophecy also states that through this suffering, they will develop a strength that cannot be broken. They will rise not because they were given an easy path, but because they have been forged in the fire of adversity. And now, it is your time. The illusions are fading, and the truth is breaking through. You can feel the shift happening within you. The world that once held you captive no longer has power over you. The struggles that once seemed unbearable now make sense. Every moment of isolation, every hardship, every tear has been preparing you for this moment. The time has come for you to step into who you were always meant to be. You are no longer lost. You are awakening. And as you rise, the world around you will begin to change. This is your journey. This is your prophecy. And now it is time for you to embrace it. Your journey has been one of solitude, and this is no accident. From the very beginning, you have walked a path that few can understand. While others moved through life feeling at home in the world, you felt different, like an outsider looking in, searching for a connection that always seemed just out of reach. You have felt the weight of isolation pressing against you, the deep ache of being misunderstood, and the quiet struggle of feeling disconnected from those around you. But make no mistake, this was never a punishment. It was preparation. The loneliness you have experienced was not a sign that something was wrong with you. It was a necessary trial, a sacred process designed to shape you into the person you were always meant to become. The test of separation is one of the most challenging obstacles that a chosen one must endure, yet it is also one of the most powerful. It strips away illusions, removing the distractions and external influences that keep so many people trapped in a false reality. It forces you to rely on the only things that truly matter, your inner strength and your connection to the divine. Throughout history, the greatest spiritual leaders, prophets, and enlightened beings have walked this same path before stepping into their destiny. They too were cast out, rejected, misunderstood. They too felt the sting of isolation. But this was not a mistake. It was a necessary step in their transformation. Before they could rise, they had to first endure the silence. They had to learn to listen to the voice within, to find clarity in the emptiness, to build strength in the absence of external validation. The same is true for you. The solitude you have faced was meant to purify you. It was designed to remove the noise of the world, to strip away everything that was not aligned with your true purpose. It was in the moments of stillness, when you had no one else to turn to, that you found the greatest truth. The quiet forced you to look inward, to face yourself, to uncover the wisdom that had always been within you. You were never truly alone. Even in your loneliest moments, you were being guided, shaped, and prepared for something far greater than you could imagine. Now, you must accept this truth. The pain of separation was never meant to break you. It was meant to reveal your strength. It was not meant to make you feel unworthy, but to remind you that you were never meant to fit into the mold of this world. You were chosen to rise above, to see beyond the illusions, to walk a path that few are strong enough to take. The test of separation was never meant to be easy, but it was always meant to lead you to exactly where you are now. You have endured, you have grown, you have awakened, and now it is time to step fully into who you were always meant to be. The moment you realize who you truly are, everything begins to change. It is not a gradual shift, but a complete transformation, one that reshapes your mind, your soul, and your spirit. The world you once knew starts to feel unfamiliar, as if the veil that kept you blind has suddenly been lifted. What once entertained you now feels empty. The conversations and distractions that used to hold your attention no longer resonate. The relationships that once seemed comfortable begin to feel forced, as if they no longer belong in your life. It is as though a hidden layer of reality has been exposed, and you can no longer pretend that you do not see it. As your awakening deepens, your intuition sharpens. You start noticing the things that others overlook, feeling the energies that others ignore. Your dreams become more vivid, sometimes carrying messages and visions that feel almost prophetic. The patterns of the universe become clearer, and the signs that were always there suddenly make sense. You begin to recognize the illusions that have kept people trapped, the falsehoods that have shaped their beliefs, and the deceptions that have controlled their lives. You no longer accept things at face value because you can see through the veils that once blinded you. This is the beginning of your true power. The moment you step beyond the illusions and into the truth of your existence. But understand this, awakening is not easy. It is not a path of comfort, nor is it a journey that many will understand. To awaken is to face the truth, and sometimes the truth is painful. It means confronting the lies you once believed, the conditioning that shaped you, and the attachments that no longer serve you. It means letting go of people, habits, and situations that you once held close but now realize are holding you back. This part of the journey can feel lonely, as many around you may not understand the changes taking place within you. Some may question you, some may resist your transformation, and some may even try to pull you back into the version of yourself that you have outgrown. But you must stand firm. This awakening is not a mistake. It is your destiny. The universe has been guiding you toward this moment, preparing you for the path that only a few are strong enough to walk. You must embrace who you are, even when it means standing alone. You must trust in your inner wisdom, even when others doubt you. And above all, you must claim your inheritance, not as something that needs to be earned, but as something that has always belonged to you. You are awakening to your divine nature. You are stepping into your power, and once you begin this journey, there is no turning back. The illusions of the past can no longer hold you, and the truth that has been revealed can never be unseen. You are no longer lost, no longer asleep. You are becoming who you were always meant to be. Now, it is time to walk forward with courage. with purpose, and with the unshakable knowing that you are destined for something greater. Accepting your divine birthright is only the first step. Now, you must rise and reclaim what has always been yours. You were never meant to live in doubt, uncertainty, or fear. You were born with a sacred inheritance, one that has been hidden beneath layers of conditioning, deception, and self-doubt. But the time for hesitation is over. Now is the moment to step into your true power. Your inheritance is not material wealth or earthly possessions. It is far greater. It is the wisdom of your ancestors, the strength of your spirit, and the divine authority that has always been within you. It is the unshakable truth that you are not ordinary, that you were chosen for something beyond the limitations of this world. No longer will you question your worth. No longer will you search for validation outside of yourself. Everything you have been seeking has been inside you all along. You are not here to ask permission to be who you are. You are not here to beg for what has always belonged to you. You are here to claim it. Speak it into existence. Declare it with unwavering confidence. I am the lost child of the divine kingdom, and I reclaim my power. The moment you say these words with conviction, something within you shifts. The chains that once held you back begin to break. The illusions that kept you small start to dissolve. The forces that have tried to suppress you can no longer stand in your way. You are no longer bound by the past. You are no longer confined by the expectations of the world. You are stepping into the fullness of your divine identity. Final message to the chosen ones. Everything you have been through, every trial, every heartbreak, every moment of isolation, was leading you to this truth. You are royalty. You have walked through the fire. You have endured the storms. And yet, you are still here. That alone is proof of your power. The time for doubt is over. The time for hesitation has passed. You are no longer lost. You are no longer searching. You have found your way home, to yourself, to your truth, to your divine inheritance. Now, rise. Your time has come. That is more than enough. Like this message, comment below. Subscribe so you don't miss any future revelations. And most importantly, step into your divine calling. May God bless you richly. May His favor surround you. Something extraordinary is unfolding right now, and you are at the very center of it. This is not a coincidence. This is not an accident. You are meant to be here, reading these words at this precise moment. A sacred event is about to take place, one that has been divinely orchestrated for you. Today, a God-chosen government official is looking for you, not just anyone because you specifically. What do they know about you that the rest of the world doesn't? What have they seen that even you might not fully understand yet? Could it be that they have recognized something hidden within you? A power? A calling? A divine anointing for wealth and influence? Could this be the moment when everything in your life shifts? Imagine for a moment, a powerful government official, handpicked by God, reaching out to meet with you privately, not for political reasons, not to ask for favors because they have witnessed something undeniable about your destiny. They see a force within you, a supernatural connection to abundance, favor, and prosperity that is about to manifest. But here is the real question. Do you see it too? This might be the moment you have been waiting for your entire life. Could this be the long-awaited turning point? The moment when God reveals your true purpose and leads you straight into the financial breakthrough you've been praying for? If something in your spirit is stirring right now, acknowledge it. Comment 777 below as a declaration that you are stepping into divine alignment. This is about unlocking a reality that very few will ever step into. A kingdom wealth transfer is on the horizon, but it will only be received by those who recognize the signs and seize the moment. The doors to supernatural increase and divine positioning are swinging open. Will you step through them? Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal could be the exact knowledge you need to walk into your breakthrough. What happens next may very well change the course of your entire life. You are stepping into a new season of your life, one that has been divinely orchestrated. It is a calling, a sacred invitation into something far greater than you have ever imagined. While many walk through life only acknowledging what is visible to the eye, you have been given a gift, the ability to perceive the unseen. You recognize what others overlook. You sense the intricate, invisible forces that shape the world around you. This is no accident. It is a deliberate choice made by God, a divine selection that sets you apart for a unique and powerful purpose. Deep down, have you ever felt there was something different about you? Have you ever noticed the way people look at you, as if they see something in you that you yourself have yet to fully recognize? Perhaps there have been moments when you felt destined for something greater, even if you could not quite put it into words. That feeling is not your imagination. It is the truth. God has placed a special vision inside your heart, a vision that sets you apart, a vision that speaks of influence, abundance, and transformation. And now, the world is beginning to take notice. People in positions of power, those who shape economies and lead nations, have recognized something extraordinary within you. They see the qualities that make you stand out. They sense the potential that has been placed inside you, waiting to be unlocked. And now, something unexpected is happening. A government official, chosen by God, is searching for you. This is not an ordinary encounter. It is a divine appointment, a moment designed by the Creator himself. But why? What is it that they see in you? What knowledge do they possess that you are yet to fully comprehend? Could it be that they recognize a strength, a wisdom, an anointing that even you have not fully embraced? Could it be that they see you as part of a much bigger plan? A plan where wealth and influence are being transferred into the hands of those who have been chosen by God? You are not here by accident. You have been positioned, prepared, and called for such a time as this. Everything you have been through, every trial, every hardship, has been leading you to this moment. And now, the doors are opening. The opportunity to step into your divine destiny is before you. The question is, are you ready to walk through? Something powerful is unfolding within you. A shift so profound that it defies logic. A transformation so extraordinary that it can only be orchestrated by God. You have walked through fire, endured hardships that would have broken most, faced betrayals that cut deep, and encountered obstacles that seemed impossible to overcome. And yet, here you are, still standing, still rising, still pressing forward. The world may have expected you to fall. Your enemies may have assumed you would give up. Even you, at times, may have doubted whether you could withstand the storms that came your way. But through every trial, through every tear, through every dark night when hope seemed like a distant dream, you endured. And that endurance is not by accident. There is something within you, something the world cannot comprehend, a force greater than mere willpower, stronger than sheer determination. It is divine power, the kind that only those chosen by God can recognize and harness. It is the ability to rise when everything around you is telling you to fall. It is the strength to keep going when the weight of the world is pressing down on your shoulders. That power is transformation. You have the extraordinary ability to take everything meant to destroy you and turn it into the very thing that fuels your success. While others see suffering as the end of the road, you see it as the beginning of something greater. While many allow pain to define them, you use it to refine you. What others view as a stumbling block, you transform into a stepping stone. Your struggles have not been in vain. Every challenge, every disappointment, every closed door was preparing you for something greater. Your pain has not been wasted. It has shaped you, molded you, strengthened you in ways you never thought possible. It has built resilience in your spirit, wisdom in your mind, and fire in your soul. Consider this. Gold is purified through fire. Diamonds are formed under pressure. The strongest trees are those that have weathered the fiercest storms. Likewise, the trials you have faced have not been punishments. They have been preparations. And now, the shift is happening. The old is being stripped away, and the new is emerging. You are stepping into a season where everything that once worked against you will begin to work for you. Where the doors that were once shut will start to swing open. Where the very things that caused you pain will now propel you into purpose. What once broke you is now building you. What once wounded you is now awakening you. You are standing on the edge of something magnificent, something life-altering. You are stepping into the destiny that was always meant for you. So take a deep breath. Stand tall. Walk boldly into what is next, knowing that everything you have been through has prepared you for this very moment. This is not just a season of change. This is your transformation. The moment is drawing near. Can you sense it? The doors that once seemed locked are about to open, and when they do, you will look back and realize that everything you have been through, every struggle, every setback, every moment of uncertainty, was shaping you for this very opportunity. Nothing was wasted. The pain, the disappointments, the battles you fought in silence, all of it has been part of a divine preparation. You were never forgotten. You were being refined for something far greater. As one of God's chosen, you have been set apart, called to something beyond the ordinary. You were not meant to simply exist, to go through life merely surviving. You were created to thrive, to walk in divine abundance, and to step into the fullness of your destiny. But the question is not whether you are chosen. The question is, are you ready to claim what has already been prepared for you? This is more than just another season. This is a divine moment in time. A moment where everything shifts, where the pieces finally come together. God, in His infinite wisdom, has placed you exactly where you need to be. He has orchestrated every step, every delay, every detour to bring you to this place, at this precise moment. The doors that no man could open are now being unlocked by His hand. The opportunities that once seemed out of reach are now aligning in your favor. But will you step through? Throughout history, God has called His people into moments just like this. Moments that changed the course of their lives forever. He called Abraham to leave everything behind and follow a promise he could not yet see. He led Joseph from the depths of a prison to the heights of a palace. He positioned Esther, an orphan girl, to become a queen and save an entire nation. He anointed David, a mere shepherd, to rise as king over Israel. And now, He is calling you. Perhaps you have felt it, a stirring in your spirit, a whisper in your heart telling you that you are on the edge of something extraordinary. You may not be able to explain it, but deep within, you know that change is coming. You are standing at the threshold of a divine breakthrough. It may not always make sense. The process may have been painful. There were seasons when you questioned why certain doors remained closed, why the journey felt so long, why the answers didn't come when you expected them to. But even when you could not see it, God was working behind the scenes. Even when you didn't understand, He was preparing the way. This meeting, this divine appointment, is not a coincidence. It is God's perfect timing. It is His orchestration. It is His will. You have walked in faith when everything around you suggested otherwise. You have endured trials that tested your strength, and yet, you have not been defeated. Now He is positioning you for the very thing He has promised. Your faith, your perseverance, and your trust in Him have brought you here. But now you must decide. Will you embrace the destiny that has been waiting for you all along? The opportunities, the blessings, the divine favor, they are already yours. But you must be willing to receive them. This is not the time to shrink back in fear. This is not the time to hesitate. This is your time to rise, to step boldly into the abundance that has been prepared for you, to walk in confidence, knowing that God Himself has paved the way before you. The doors are open. The path is clear. Your time is now. Step forward. Claim your divine inheritance. Walk into the life that God has destined for you. This is your moment. If this message resonates with you, I invite you to show your support and join us in continuing this mission. Your generosity, your engagement, Your willingness to open your heart to God's voice. That is more than enough. Like this message. Comment below. Subscribe so you don't miss any future revelations. And most importantly, step into your divine calling. May God bless you richly. May His favor surround you. May you walk boldly in the path He has set before you. You are chosen. You are powerful. You are stepping into divine abundance. The best is yet to come. They never saw it coming. They laughed when you struggled. They doubted you when you tried. They mocked you when you failed. And now they're choking on their own arrogance, watching you walk away as their world crumbles. This isn't just an exit, it's a reckoning. They never thought you'd break free. They believed they had you trapped, locked inside their twisted little game. You were their convenience, their safety net, their endless source of energy. They never realized the power you held, the strength you concealed beneath your silence. Because the chosen ones, we don't just leave. We erase our presence so completely that they have no choice but to face the cold, bitter truth. Without us, they are nothing. They'll call it dramatic. They'll pretend to be shocked. They'll whisper about how you changed, how you turned cold. But the truth, you didn't change. You woke up. You realized that staying wasn't loyalty. It was a slow death. And survival meant choosing yourself over the ones who only loved you when they could use you. Here's the ugly truth. Most people don't miss you. They miss what you did for them. It's not love they're grieving. It's their loss of control. The comfort you once gave them is gone, and now they're left with the emptiness they tried to bury beneath your sacrifice. But the best part? You didn't leave with anger. You didn't beg. You didn't scream. You just walked out. And that's what haunts them the most. Because silence is the loudest goodbye, and indifference is the most brutal revenge. This isn't just about walking away. This is about reclaiming your power. The power they pretended you didn't have. The power they tried to drain from you. But here's what they never understood. A chosen one's power doesn't fade. It evolves. They're stuck in the ruins of their own delusion, while you rise. And to you, the one who finally walked away, the one who refused to be caged, this is your moment. If you've been here from the start or just found your way into this space, know this: you are not alone. This is where the ones who broke free come together. So if you're ready to stand firm in your decision, if you're ready to never look back and to own the power they never wanted you to realize, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop 77 in the comments to mark the moment you chose yourself over them. And now, let's break it down, step by step. Because trust me, if you're truly one of the chosen ones, you'll feel it. The pull, the truth, the fire. Stay with me until the end, because by the time we're done, you'll never question your decision again. Number 1. You were there but never seen. They didn't lose you. They lost the privilege of your presence. And now, all they have left is the echo of what they never appreciated. They sit in disbelief, wondering how you could walk away so easily. But the truth is, you were already gone long before you left. You had been fading for a long time, slipping away in quiet moments, in forced smiles, in sighs that went unnoticed. You were there, but never truly seen. You existed in the background, a steady presence they relied on but never acknowledged. They mistook your silence for submission, your patience for acceptance, your endurance for an obligation to stay. You were expected to be there, to give, to sacrifice, to bend, because that's what you always did. They never questioned your presence because they assumed it was permanent. But what they failed to realize is that no one stays where they are invisible forever. Every moment they overlooked you, every time they dismissed your needs, every instance where they made you feel small, those were the cracks forming in the foundation. And by the time they noticed, it was too late. You had already withdrawn, your heart had already left, and when you finally walked away, it wasn't an impulsive decision, it was inevitable. Now, they sit in the emptiness they created, forced to confront the truth they never wanted to face. You weren't a convenience. You weren't an afterthought. You were the light they took for granted. And now that you're gone, they are left with nothing but the cold reality of what they lost. And this time, you're not coming back. Number 2, they drained your light, then cried in the darkness. They thought your light was infinite, like the sun always there, always shining, always giving without question. They took from you endlessly, basking in your warmth, feeding off your energy, using your strength to hold themselves together. You were the fire that kept them warm, the steady glow that lit their path, and they never once stopped to wonder what would happen if you had nothing left to give. They assumed you would always be there, strong and unwavering, because that's who you were, the one who carried the weight, the one who solved the problems, the one who made life easier. They never noticed when you started to dim. They were too busy enjoying your light, too consumed with their own comfort, to see that the fire inside you was flickering, that the exhaustion was creeping in, that you were running on empty. And then, one day, the light went out. Not with a dramatic explosion, not with a fiery storm, but with quiet finality. You had given all you had, and there was nothing left. And suddenly, they were left in the darkness, lost and panicked, struggling to navigate a world without your warmth. They didn't miss you, they missed what you did for them. They missed the way you softened their chaos, the way you carried what they refused to hold, the way you made everything easier. But here's the painful truth. Light is not free. It needs care, respect, and reciprocity. And when those things are missing, even the brightest flame will burn out. Now they sit in the cold, desperate for the glow they once took for granted. But you're gone, and this time they'll have to learn to survive the darkness on their own. Number 3. Shattering the illusion. Escaping the cage they built for you. They didn't fear losing you. They feared you, realizing you never needed them in the first place. The cage they built around you was never made of bars. It was woven from pretty words, love, loyalty, duty, wrapped in the illusion of safety. They made it seem like protection, like something built to keep you safe. But the truth, it was never about your safety. It was about keeping you small. They needed you predictable, manageable, easy to control, a piece that fit neatly into their carefully crafted puzzle, never disrupting their world. You weren't supposed to think beyond the walls they placed around you. You weren't supposed to question the limits they set, but you did. At first, it was just a feeling, a tightness in your chest, a whisper in the back of your mind telling you something wasn't right. You ignored it, convincing yourself this was just how things were. Maybe if you shrank yourself just a little more, if you became just a little quieter, you could make it work. But then, something shifted. Maybe it was a single moment of clarity. Maybe it was 1,000 little moments of dismissal, disrespect, and being unseen. But suddenly, the cage wasn't invisible anymore. You saw it for what it was, a prison disguised as a home. And once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it. So, you started pushing, testing the walls, reclaiming space, becoming who you were always meant to be. And that's when the panic set in. They saw you changing, growing, refusing to be contained, and they hated it. Not because they loved you, but because they loved controlling you. Now they call you selfish, ungrateful, even cruel. But let's be clear, you didn't leave them. You left the version of yourself that fit inside their cage. You left the silence, the smallness, the endless need for their approval. And the final bitter truth? They can't follow you. They were never willing to grow, never willing to break their own chains. So now all they can do is watch as you rise, knowing that they never had the power. You were just waiting to take it back. Number 4. How walking away took their power. Their power over you was never real. It was an illusion, and the moment you walked away, you shattered it. For so long, they played their game well, wrapping their control in pretty words: concern, loyalty, love. But make no mistake, it was never love. It was power disguised as care. Every decision you made was quietly influenced. Every boundary you set was blurred just enough to keep you trapped. And every time you doubted them, they fed you just enough validation to keep you coming back. They believed they had you locked in, convinced that you would always seek their approval, that their opinions could shape your choices, that you needed them. That belief was their safety net, their illusion of power. But the moment you walked away, you ripped it to shreds. They weren't prepared for this. They thought guilt, obligation, and the fear they planted in you would keep you bound to them forever. They miscalculated. They underestimated you. Because the moment you realized that their power only existed as long as you allowed it, it was over. You didn't leave in anger. You didn't leave for revenge. You left because you outgrew the lies. You saw through the manipulation, the guilt trips, the mind games. You stopped bending, stopped shrinking, stopped second-guessing yourself just to fit into their world. You reclaimed yourself. And that was the most dangerous thing you could have done in their eyes. Now they are scrambling, lost in a world where you no longer play by their rules. They sit in disbelief, asking themselves how this happened. But the answer is simple. Their power was never real. It only worked because you let it. And now that you're gone, their empire of control has collapsed into nothing. They built their strength on the illusion that you would never leave. And you just proved them wrong. Number 5. The loss that leaves scars when nothing can replace you. Some losses are temporary, but others leave scars so deep that nothing ever grows there again. Your absence isn't just noticed, it's felt. When you left, it wasn't just a goodbye. It was a rupture, a tear in the fabric of their world. The kind of absence that doesn't fade with time. It lingers, it echoes, it haunts. They thought they could move on, replace you, patch up the gap with someone new. But some spaces can't be filled. You weren't just another person in their life. You were the glue that held everything together, the steady force that kept things from falling apart, the one who made sense of their chaos, who brought light into their dull existence. You were the quit foundation, the overlooked constant, and now that you're gone, that foundation is gone too. They never saw you that way before. You were just there, like air, unnoticed until it's missing, like gravity, never questioned until the fall. They assumed you'd always be around, that no matter how much they ignored you, used you, overlooked you, you'd still show up, still pour into them, still hold everything together. But now they're choking on the emptiness. Your absence is loud. It rings in every awkward silence, in every mistake they can't fix, in every hollow moment where something just feels wrong. They try to drown it out, to cover it up with distractions, with substitutes, with empty reassurances that they'll be fine. But they won't. Because deep down they know the truth. They lost something irreplaceable. They don't just miss you. They miss the version of their life that worked because of you. And now, they're left with nothing but the cold realization that they had something extraordinary, and they ruined it. They thought life would go on seamlessly, that someone else could take your place. But what they're realizing slowly, painfully, is that your absence isn't just a gap. It's a wound, one that won't heal, one they can't ignore, one they'll be forced to live with day after day, as a reminder of what they lost when they let you go. Number 6. They fed off your strength. Now they're starving. They never truly loved you. They loved the way you held their world together while yours was quietly falling apart. They fed off your resilience as if it were endless, as if you were some unshakable force placed in their life to absorb every storm they refused to face. When their lives spiraled, they ran to you. When their emotions crashed, they leaned on you. When everything was chaos, they turned to you to fix it. You were their foundation, their shelter, their quiet savior. But they never stopped to ask who was holding you up. You made it look effortless, didn't you? You carried their burdens with a calm face, swallowed your struggles in silence, and kept everything running smoothly, no matter how much it drained you. And because you never broke, they assumed you never would. That was their mistake. They mistook your endurance for duty, your patience for permission. They believed your strength was something they could use rather than something you needed to protect. But resilience isn't infinite. It isn't a well that never runs dry. You gave and gave and gave until there was nothing left. And then, you finally walked away. You finally chose yourself over them. And in that moment, they didn't just lose a person, they lost their safety net. Now, the cracks are showing. The weight of their dysfunction, once hidden beneath your quiet sacrifices, is exposed. The same people who dismissed your struggles are now gasping for air, drowning in the very chaos you once managed for them. They thought they could depend on you forever, that you would always be there no matter how little they gave in return. They never imagined a world where they would have to stand on their own. But now, they have no choice. For the first time, they are forced to deal with the wreckage, the mess you shielded them from for far too long. Let them panic. Let them struggle. Because now, they're seeing what life looks like without the one person who held it all together. And this time, you're not coming back to save them. Number 7. They can imitate you, but they can't replace you. They thought they could replace you, that someone else could step in, fill the space you left, and life would go on as if you were never there. To them, your presence was just another role to be played, another script to be followed. But they were wrong. Dead wrong. Because when you left, you didn't just take your body, you took the one thing they could never recreate, your authenticity. They can try to mimic your words, repeat your actions, even attach themselves to someone who vaguely resembles you. But they're learning the hard way that authenticity isn't something you can fake, rent, or steal. It's either in you or it's not. And that's where they're drowning. They built their world on illusions, on pretending, on pleasing, on bending to fit whatever mold made them feel accepted. But you were different. You spoke what you meant and meant what you spoke. You saw what others ignored. You refused to be anything but yourself. That scared them. That challenged them. And instead of rising to meet you, they chose to take from you. Now the cracks in their world are showing. The forced laughter, the shallow conversations, the empty gestures, it's all hollow. No matter how hard they try, they can't recreate what made you special. Because what you brought wasn't just energy, it was depth. And that can't be copied. Now they're scrambling, filling their time with distractions, with stand-ins, with anything that numbs the realization creeping into their minds. You were one of one. The connection you gave, the presence you carried, the fire in your words, it wasn't just valuable. It was irreplaceable. And the worst part? They know it. They might act unbothered, might surround themselves with noise to drown out the silence your absence left behind. But deep down, they feel it. They feel the void where your authenticity used to be, the raw, unfiltered realness that made everything around you matter. And no matter how much they pretend, that truth will haunt them. Because at the end of the day, they didn't just lose a person. They lost the only real thing they had. Number 8. Your absence is their mirror, and they can't look away. The cruelest truth isn't being abandoned. It's realizing you were the reason someone left. Your walking away wasn't just a loss to them. It was a brutal awakening. They thought they could handle life without you. But the moment you left, everything changed. Not just because you were gone, But because your absence held up a mirror they were never ready to face. They always saw you as the one who would stay, the one who would clean up their messes, smooth over their mistakes, and hold their fragile world together while they took you for granted. But the second you walked away, they were left staring at the cracks they ignored for so long, the ones you had been holding together. They leaned on your strength so they wouldn't have to build their own. They used your wisdom to cover up their poor decisions. They relied on your kindness to excuse their selfishness. As long as you were there, they could deflect, distract, and pretend. But now the silence screams. Now the empty space exposes everything. Without you, the truth is undeniable. Your departure forced them to ask the questions they were never ready to face. Why didn't I appreciate them when I had the chance? Why did I push them so far that they had no choice but to leave? But the hardest question of all, what does it say about me that someone so loyal, so giving, so rare decided I wasn't worth staying for? That thought is poison, because it's one thing to be abandoned, it's another to realize that you earned it. You were their shield, the buffer between them and their own flaws. And now, with no one left to cover their mistakes, their reflection is unforgiving. The toxic cycles they thought they could run forever are now laid bare. The manipulation they used to control you? Useless. The illusion of power they held over you? Gone. And the worst part? It's too late to fix any of it. They lost the best thing they had, and now, every single day, they are haunted by one unshakable truth. They were the reason you left. Number 9. They gambled on your guilt and lost everything. The moment you stopped feeling guilty for choosing yourself was the moment they lost their last weapon against you. They thought they had you locked in not by force, not by words, but by guilt. They built their control around the belief that you would always feel obligated to stay, to keep giving, to keep sacrificing even at your own expense. They counted on the idea that no matter how much they drained you, you'd never have the heart to leave. And for a long time, their plan worked. The emotional weight they placed on your shoulders was never loud or obvious. It was quiet, calculated, a contract you never signed but were always expected to uphold. They made you feel like walking away was selfish, like choosing yourself was a betrayal. Every time you considered leaving, they fed you the same poison. After all I've done for you, you wouldn't just leave me like that. I thought you cared. And for a while, you believed it. You second-guessed yourself. You stayed when you should have left. You gave when you had nothing left. You let their expectations dictate your life because they convinced you that love, friendship, or loyalty meant putting yourself last. But then something shifted, a quiet moment of clarity, a realization so sharp it cut through all the noise. You saw the game for what it was. The guilt they used against you was nothing more than a leash, a tool to keep you small, to keep you available, to keep you under control. And the moment you understood that, everything changed. You left. No hesitation, no looking back, no apologies. And that broke them. Not just because you were gone, but because they lost the grip they thought they had on you. They never expected you to walk away without guilt eating you alive. They never thought you'd wake up and realize that loyalty without reciprocity is nothing more than self-destruction. Now they sit there, replaying it over and over, trying to make sense of how you slipped through their fingers. But they fail to see the truth: they never had you in the first place. They only had your guilt. Number 10. You were their comfort. Now you're their wake-up call. Some lessons are learned in whispers, others in the deafening silence of someone who's never coming back. They thought they had time to push you aside, time to take you for granted, time to play their mind games and assume you'd always be there to clean up their mess. But time just ran out. Your departure wasn't just a goodbye. It was a siren blasting through their delusions, a wrecking ball slamming into their false sense of security. They never imagined a world where you weren't waiting in the background, always ready to forgive, always willing to sacrifice. And now? Now they're drowning in the consequences of their own arrogance. Every misstep they made, every choice they neglected, every moment they ignored your worth, it all comes crashing down on them. They're waking up, but it's too late. They took, assuming you'd always have more to give. They dismissed your pain, brushed aside your needs, and still believed they could keep you tied to them. They assumed you would bend forever, never realizing that one day you would break free. Now, your silence is their loudest punishment. They look around and feel the emptiness where you used to be. They reach for you, but you're gone. And every single day, they are haunted by what they lost. The comfort of knowing you'd always return? Gone. The certainty that they could always get one more chance? Gone. The belief that you needed them more than they needed you? Completely shattered. They can distract themselves, fill their time with noise, surround themselves with temporary replacements, but nothing feels the same. Because you weren't just another person in their life. You were the anchor, the balance, the force that made things work. And now, they have to sit in the wreckage of their own making. The worst part? They did this to themselves. They had something rare, something extraordinary, and they let it slip through their fingers. And now, every second without you is a painful reminder of just how badly they failed. But you're done being their lesson. Let them wake up alone, because you're never looking back. Number 11. The fire they took for granted. Some people spend their lives trapped in a world of gray, safe, predictable, and painfully ordinary. They settle for the familiar, surrounding themselves with mediocrity, never daring to disrupt the dull rhythm of their existence. And then, you walked in. You weren't just another presence in their orbit. You were the exception, a force of nature, a fire that burned through their comfort, exposing the cracks they refused to see. You made them feel something real, something they were never brave enough to chase on their own. Without even trying, you shook their world. Your energy, your ambition, your authenticity, it all stood in sharp contrast to the life they had built around convenience and complacency. You reminded them that life is more than just existing. You were proof that something extraordinary was possible. And that terrified them. Because the truth is, people like them don't want to rise. They want to remain. They crave stability, even if it means settling for less. They talk about greatness, but refuse to do the work to achieve it. And you were living proof of what they could be, if only they had the courage to try. But instead of rising to meet you, they resented you for it. It's easier to hate the fire than admit you're afraid of burning. They tried to dim you, contain you, make you smaller, not because they didn't see your light, but because they were afraid of what it exposed in them. And now, the illusion is shattered. They thought they could return to their ordinary world, but something is missing, something they can't replace. The space you once filled is now a hollow void, a reminder of everything they ignored, everything they could have been, and everything they will never become. Because they didn't just lose you, they lost their only chance at more. Number 12. They never loved you. They wanted to own you. They never truly loved you. They loved controlling you. You weren't a person to them. You were a piece in their puzzle, a character in their carefully crafted story. Your presence made their life easier. Your energy kept their world spinning, but your freedom? Your right to choose? That was never part of the deal. They never imagined a version of life where you were no longer at their command. You were supposed to stay exactly where they placed you, bending, adjusting, shrinking to fit their expectations. They mistook your kindness for obedience, your patience for permanence, and your loyalty for self-abandonment. To them, you weren't an individual with needs and dreams of your own. You were a comfort, a stability, a certainty. For too long, they operated under the illusion that you would always prioritize their wants over your own. that your boundaries were mere suggestions, that your identity was flexible enough to be shaped by their hands. They convinced themselves that you would always play along so they'd never have to face the truth they never truly respected you. And just like that, their illusion shattered. Because your leaving wasn't just about walking away, it was about rejecting the cage they put you in. You tore up the unspoken contract that said you had to give, that you had to tolerate, that you had to stay small so they could feel big. And when you walked out, you took something with you, the power they thought they had over you. Now they're left with a brutal truth. The version of you they loved never even existed. It was a projection, a construct they built in their mind. And the real you, the one who refuses to be controlled, the one who walks away without looking back, that's the you they never wanted to see. They don't grieve your absence. They grieve the loss of control. And that is what haunts them the most. They expected a reaction, a dramatic farewell. They thought you'd cry, beg, or plead for them to see your worth. They waited for anger, for heartbreak, for one last desperate attempt to hold on. But instead, you did the one thing they never prepared for. You simply walked away. No fights, no explanations, no lingering goodbyes. And that is what terrifies them the most. They thought they had time to manipulate, time to guilt trip, time to pull you back in just like they always had. They mistook your patience for permanence, your endurance for acceptance. They believed you were so deeply entangled in their world that you'd never find the strength to leave. But what they failed to realize was that your patience wasn't endless. It was a countdown. And when the last second ticked away, you were gone. This wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about making a statement. It was about something far more powerful, self-respect. You didn't ask for permission. You didn't need their understanding. Because when you finally recognize your worth, you don't negotiate it. And now they are haunted by the finality of it all. For the first time, they see the truth their power over you was never real. It was a fragile illusion, one that only existed because you allowed it. The moment you chose yourself, their entire world collapsed. They call you selfish, cold, heartless. But what they really mean is, how dare you choose yourself over us? Because they were never afraid of losing you. They were afraid of losing control over you. And now that they have, they are left with nothing but the wreckage of their own choices. Your silence, it's the loudest thing they've ever heard, and it will haunt them forever. But here's the truth. They were never meant to hold that kind of power over you. Choosing yourself was never selfish. It was necessary. Walking away wasn't heartless. It was survival. And now, as you stand in your peace, free from their grasp, you realize something powerful. You were never the problem. The weight they placed on you was never yours to carry. And by letting go, you didn't just free yourself. You exposed the truth they tried so hard to bury. Thank you for watching. If this message spoke to you, remember, you are never alone. Your voice matters, your strength is real, and your journey has purpose. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories and reflections. Your support means everything and helps us continue creating content that uplifts and empowers. Until next time, stay strong, chosen one. There is a secret about your existence, a truth so profound that ancient forces conspired to bury it beneath the weight of time. It was never meant to be spoken, never meant to be discovered. But destiny has a way of defying even the most immutable decrees. And now, the veil is lifting. From the moment you took your first breath, your name was inscribed on a plane few can perceive. It was etched into the very fabric of existence, a mark neither celestial beings nor shadowed entities could fully comprehend. You were never supposed to be here, or at least, you were never meant to remain. An order had been given. A decree had been set in stone long before you could ever question it. A hunter was sent. A creature shaped by chaos and obedient to darkness. a fallen angel, stripped of grace and bound to the will of the abyss. He had ended countless lives before, erased souls without hesitation, his blade an extension of his existence, merciless, unwavering, absolute. But when it came to you, something changed. He should have struck you down. He should have erased your name from the annals of time, as he had done with so many others. And yet, he did not. The night he found you should have been like any other, a silent execution, another soul erased without question. He had done this before, countless times, without hesitation. His blade had never faltered, his purpose never wavered. And yet the moment he stood before you, something within him broke. His instincts screamed for him to act, to finish what had been decreed since before you were even born. He should have struck you down before you ever saw him, before you even knew he existed. But the blade never fell. A strange sensation coursed through him, unfamiliar and unwelcome, a crack in the certainty that had defined his existence for eons. Hesitation. A shadow of doubt passed through his very being, subtle yet shattering, like a whisper of something forbidden in the abyss. It was not weakness, he had no concept of such a thing, but something deeper, something that defied the order written into his essence. He told himself it was a fleeting miscalculation, an insignificant delay. But the longer he stood there, the more he realized the truth. He could not do it. He could not erase you. Hatred rose in him not for you, but for himself. He had never failed, never questioned, never faltered. His entire existence was built upon obedience, upon the execution of commands that should never be ignored. And yet, here he stood, his blade frozen in the air, an unspoken war raging within him. He had never been anything but a servant of darkness, a force of ruin, a shadow bound to the will of the abyss. So why now did he feel something shift, something unravel? He tried to force himself to act, to silence the anomaly before it grew into something uncontrollable. But it was already too late. Something in your presence disarmed him in a way he could not comprehend. You were not just another soul, another name to be erased. There was something about you, something that defied the rules he had always known. Your heartbeat echoed through the silence, steady and unafraid, and for the first time in all his existence, he felt as though he were standing on the edge of something unknown. The weight of his own hesitation crushed him, a foreign burden pressing against him like unseen chains. He should have left, should have vanished into the shadows. But instead, he lingered, caught in the gravity of something beyond his understanding. Anger burned in his chest, not at you, but at himself. He could not comprehend why his body refused to obey, why the decree that had guided him for eternity now felt like an illusion crumbling before his eyes. And so, he did the only thing he could. He turned and disappeared into the night, retreating into the darkness that had always been his home. But something followed him. An invisible mark burned into his mind, a name he could not forget. He told himself he would return, that he would correct this mistake, that he would finish what he had started. But deep down, he already knew the truth. The failure was not in his blade. The failure was in him. Since that night, he has never left you. You may not see him, but you feel him. A silent presence lingering just beyond the veil of perception. A weight pressing against your soul. At first, it is nothing more than an unshakable feeling, an occasional chill crawling up your spine, a fleeting shiver in the warmth of the sun. You dismiss it as paranoia, an overactive imagination. But deep down, you know better. Something unseen moves in the spaces between your breaths, watching, waiting. He keeps his distance at first, hidden in the places where light does not reach. He watches in silence, trying to understand why he failed. He tells himself it was a momentary lapse, an anomaly to be corrected. But the longer he observes, the less he believes his own justifications. The truth is far more insidious. Something in you lingers in his mind, refusing to be erased. He does not understand it, and that terrifies him. The more he watches, the closer he draws. His presence shifts from a whisper to a weight, pressing against the fabric of your existence. You begin to notice. The air thickens when you're alone. The light seems dimmer, sounds more distant, as if the world itself recoils at the presence of something unnatural. You catch glimpses of movement and reflections, but when you turn, there is nothing there. The feeling of being watched intensifies, an oppressive awareness that burrows into your thoughts, turning silence into something unbearable. The dreams begin soon after. At first, they are fragments, half-formed images that dissolve the moment you wake. But they grow stronger, more vivid, more real. A shadow looms at the edge of your vision, always watching, never speaking. The presence does not touch you, but you feel it, an unrelenting force just beyond reach, tethered to you by something unseen. You wake with the lingering sensation of something unfinished, something waiting. He should remain hidden, should erase all trace of himself. That is what he was trained to do. But he does not. Instead, he leaves pieces of himself behind, not mistakes, but choices. A whisper too close, a shadow that lingers just a moment too long, a sensation that tightens around you like unseen fingers. He tells himself it is part of the hunt, that he is simply studying his prey. But the truth is far more dangerous, because with each passing day it becomes clearer. This is no longer a hunt. It is an obsession. And worse still, he no longer knows if he is watching you because he must end what he started, or because he cannot bear to turn away. He has tried everything to silence the chaos within him. He has drowned himself in battle, torn through countless souls, and buried himself in destruction, all in a desperate attempt to forget. But no matter how much blood stains his hands, no matter how deep he buries himself in the abyss, nothing erases the moment he met you. Your existence clings to him like a shadow that refuses to fade, a mark burned into his very essence. He tells himself that it is a curse, that you are an anomaly disrupting the order he has always known. And yet, the more he tries to deny it, the more the truth presses against him like a weight he cannot escape. The failure was not in his blade. It was in him. You were supposed to be nothing, a name, a target, a task to complete and forget. But you are none of those things. The rules he has always obeyed, the absolute certainty of his purpose, have shattered. He is no longer sure if he was sent to eliminate you or if this mission was never about you at all. Perhaps it was about him. Perhaps it was meant to break something within him, to expose a weakness he never knew existed. He fights against the thought, against the unraveling of his own existence. But it is useless. Every path leads back to you. Every time he closes his eyes, he sees your face. Every time he tries to forget, your presence returns stronger, more consuming. He cannot understand why, and that terrifies him. Was this fate? Was he always meant to find you, not as an executioner, but as something else? The question haunts him. It poisons him. It transforms him. And though he tries to convince himself that you are his downfall, another part of him, the part he has spent lifetimes ignoring, whispers that maybe, just maybe, you are his awakening. Then one night, the pursuit ends. The shadows no longer conceal him, and the whispers no longer dissolve before you can hear them. He stands before you at last, no longer a distant presence lurking in the darkness, but a force that bends reality itself. The air around you shifts, thick with something unseen, something inevitable. You feel it in your bones, the weight of this moment, the unshakable sense that everything has been leading to this. His blade is drawn, but it does not strike. His mission was clear, his purpose absolute. And yet, he hesitates. He has told himself time and time again that this is merely unfinished business, that you are nothing more than a mistake he must correct. But now, standing before you, the truth is undeniable. This was never just another hunt. This was never about you. It was about him. about the fracture that had been growing inside him since the moment he laid eyes on you. For the first time, he is forced to confront what he has been running from. The certainty that once guided him has turned to dust, and in its place is something unfamiliar, something terrifying. Choice. He was not made to choose. He was made to obey. But now, his orders feel hollow, and the weight of the blade in his hand feels more like a burden than a purpose. He expected you to run, to fight, to react in a way that would make his decision easier. But you do none of those things. You simply look at him, and that single act shatters him more than any battle ever could. He realizes, in that moment, that if he does not act now, he may never be able to fulfill his mission. But at the same time, he knows that if he does, he will be destroying the only truth he has ever glimpsed. The silence between you is unbearable, stretching into something that neither of you can define. He clings to the last remnants of his purpose, but they slip through his fingers like ash. He understands now. He did not fail because he was weak. He failed because for the first time, he saw beyond the chains that bound him. And now, there is no turning back. Freedom always comes at a price. He knows this the moment he lowers his blade, the moment he turns his back on the order that has defined his existence for eternity. The abyss does not tolerate disobedience. The masters he once served will not stand for his failure. The darkness will come for him as relentlessly as he once pursued you. But now, it is not only his fate that is at stake, it is yours. Because if he could not kill you, they will find another who will. But this time, you are not alone. Something has shifted, something irreversible. He was sent to erase you, but instead, he has become your shield. He stands at your side, no longer as the hunter, but as the protector. The very forces that once commanded him will now hunt him, and the war that has long raged in the unseen world will soon bleed into this one. The same darkness that shaped him will try to reclaim him, to drag him back into the abyss. And worse, they will try to erase you again, because if he could not do it, they will find someone who will not hesitate. But this time, hesitation will not be his weakness. It will be his strength. He has turned his back on the only life he has ever known, and for the first time, he does not regret it. The weight that once held him captive has lifted, replaced by something unfamiliar yet undeniable. Purpose. Not the kind forced upon him, but the kind he has chosen. He does not know what comes next, does not know if redemption is even possible for one like him. But if there is one thing he is certain of, it is this: no one will ever touch you again. The hunt has ended. The battle has begun. But this is not just a story. It is a mirror. How many times has darkness tried to silence you? How many times have unseen forces sought to break you, to convince you that you are not strong enough to survive? And yet, you are still here. You are not a mistake. You are not an accident. You are a force that defies what was written, a light that refuses to be extinguished. And like him, you have a choice: to remain bound by the chains that were placed upon you, or to break free. Destiny has brought you to this moment. The question is, what will you do with it? Because the story is far from over. The battle is only beginning. If this message resonated with you, if something deep within you stirred as you listened, then you are already on the path meant for you. Do not turn away. Do not let the world silence the truth inside you. Stand in it. Walk in it. And if you are ready to uncover more, if you are ready to step into the story that has always been waiting for you, then subscribe now and join us on this journey. Because what comes next is something you won't want to miss. Thank you for being here. And remember, your destiny has already been written. Now it's time to live it. Chosen ones, hear me. What I am about to share with you is not just another message. This is a divine revelation, a word you cannot afford to ignore. If you are here right now, it is not by coincidence. God Himself has led you to this moment because He knows this message is meant for you. Everything I am about to tell you is not my own wisdom. It is a divine instruction from the Almighty. The Word of God is alive, sharper than any two-edged sword. It carries the power to break chains, open doors, and lead you into your destiny. So listen closely. What you are about to hear has the power to transform your life forever. The Word of God is not just ink on paper. It breathes, it moves, it transforms. It is the same Word that spoke light into the darkness at the beginning of time. The same Word that healed the sick, raised the dead, and calmed the raging storms. And today, that same Word is coming to you, to breathe life into every dry place in your soul, to shatter every chain that has held you back, and to realign you with the purpose God set for you before the foundation of the world. So do not harden your heart. Do not let distractions steal this moment. Because when God speaks, mountains bow, demons tremble, and the heavens open. Right now, in this very moment, He is speaking directly to you. Will you listen? Will you receive it? I urge you, silence every distraction and open your heart. Receive this word with expectation, because when God speaks, everything changes. And today, change is coming to you. Have you ever found yourself asking, why is my life so difficult? Why does it feel like every burden is placed on my shoulders? Why am I constantly fighting battles that others seem to avoid? You look around and see people living with ease, seemingly untouched by the storms that rage around you. While others walk freely, you are carrying a weight so heavy that at times it feels unbearable. You struggle, you sacrifice, and you pour into others, yet you often feel unappreciated and unseen. You wonder why it always has to be you, the one who figures things out, the one who stands in the gap, the one who bears the weight of responsibility while others seem to drift through life without a care. Let me tell you why. Because you were chosen. You were never meant to walk an ordinary path. You were never meant to have an easy life. God has set you apart for something greater, and that greatness comes with a price. You are not just here to survive. You are here to build, to sustain, to multiply, and to establish something that will outlast you. That is why your battles are greater. That is why your storms are more intense. That is why the enemy has fought so hard to break you, because he knows the calling on your life is too powerful to be ignored. The struggles you face are not random. They are a necessary preparation. God is not punishing you. He is building you. Look at the foundation of a house. If the walls crack, they can be repaired. If the roof leaks, it can be fixed. But if the foundation is weak, the entire house will collapse. That is why your journey has been different, because you are a foundation. A family, a community, even a nation cannot stand without strong foundations, and you are one of those pillars. That is why you have endured rejection, isolation, and betrayal. That is why you have fought battles in silence while others remained oblivious. Because God is making you strong. Weak people cannot carry great responsibilities. Shallow people cannot uphold generations. Easily shaken people cannot be trusted with divine assignments. And so God has allowed you to be tested, refined, and molded into someone unshakable. When you look at the lives of those called by God, you will see the same pattern. Joseph was betrayed and thrown into a pit before he reached the palace. Moses was rejected and forced into the wilderness before he led Israel to freedom. David was hunted like a fugitive before he took his rightful place on the throne. Even Jesus himself, the Son of God, was despised, rejected, and abandoned in his darkest hour. Their struggles were not punishments, they were preparations. And your struggles are no different. The weight is heavy because the assignment is great. You are not just anyone. You are called. You are chosen. And if God has entrusted you with this burden, He has also given you the strength to carry it. Do not despise your battles. They are shaping you into the leader, the protector, the foundation that God designed you to be. Your hardship is not the end of your story. It is the preparation for something greater than you can imagine. When we think of a breadwinner, the world often defines it as someone who provides financially for their family. But in God's eyes, A true breadwinner is much more than just a provider of money and material needs. They are sustainers, multipliers, and preservers of destinies. They do not merely survive. They build, prepare, and ensure that what is entrusted to them is not only maintained but multiplied for future generations. One of the greatest biblical examples of a true breadwinner is Joseph. His story is not just about survival. It is about divine strategy, wisdom, and stewardship that saved not only a nation, but also the generations that followed. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. Yet through all of this, God was shaping him, preparing him for the moment when he would rise to become a leader who would sustain millions. During the years of abundance in Egypt, Joseph did not waste what he had. He stored it, managed it wisely, and prepared for the famine that was to come. Tells us that when the famine struck, while other lands suffered in lack, Egypt had food because of Joseph's foresight and divine wisdom. He did not just think about the present, he thought generationally. He did not just provide for his family, he positioned himself to sustain entire nations. This is what separates a mere provider from a true breadwinner. A provider gives what is needed for today. A breadwinner builds so that others will not lack tomorrow. Joseph's journey teaches us 3 critical lessons about what it means to be a true breadwinner. First, preparation is key. Breadwinners do not live just for the moment. They prepare for the future. Joseph did not wait until the famine came to act. He made strategic decisions long before the crisis arrived. Second, breadwinners know how to manage resources wisely. They are not wasteful, nor are they reckless. They recognize that what they have is not just for them, but for those they are called to sustain. Third, true breadwinners multiply. Joseph did not merely ensure survival. He used wisdom and divine strategy to turn a crisis into an opportunity for abundance. His leadership did not just feed people for a season, it preserved generations. This is your calling. You are not meant to live in survival mode, constantly struggling just to get by. You are meant to thrive, multiply, and build a legacy that will impact those who come after you. Like Joseph, God has placed in you the ability to create, sustain, and expand. But with that ability comes a responsibility to steward it wisely, to manage it with diligence, and to trust that God will provide the strength and wisdom needed to fulfill your assignment. What will you do with what God has given you? Will you merely survive, or will you rise as a true breadwinner, a foundation upon which generations can stand? The choice is yours. There are moments in life when the burdens we carry feel too heavy to bear. The pressures of responsibility, the weight of expectations, and the struggles that seem unending can leave us feeling exhausted and overwhelmed. In these moments, it's easy to wonder if we have the strength to continue. We question whether we're capable of handling everything that life throws our way. The nights feel longer, the days feel harder, and the hope that once burned brightly seems to flicker. But even in the heaviest moments, we are not alone. Throughout the Bible, we see countless examples of people who carried immense burdens. Moses, tasked with leading an entire nation through the wilderness. David, pursued by enemies while clinging to God's promises. Paul, imprisoned and beaten, yet steadfast in his faith. Yet in every struggle, God provided strength. He reminded them that they were never meant to carry their burdens alone. Jesus himself extended an invitation to the weary, saying, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This promise is not just for those in the past, it is for us today. When the weight feels unbearable, we must remember that we were never designed to carry it by ourselves. God invites us to lay our worries at his feet, to trust that he is strong enough to sustain us. This does not mean our struggles will instantly disappear, but it does mean we are held by a God who walks with us through every storm. Instead of relying on our own strength, we can lean on his. Instead of being crushed by our burdens, we can surrender them to the one who has already overcome the world. So if you find yourself weary, take heart. You are not alone, and you are not forgotten. The same God who strengthened Moses, guided David, and upheld Paul is holding you too. Lay your burdens before him and allow his peace to fill the places where fear and exhaustion once lived. The weight may be heavy, but his grace is always greater. Carrying the weight of your calling can feel overwhelming, but it is not meant to break you. It is meant to shape you. One of the first steps to walking in your calling without crumbling under its weight is to stop seeing yourself as a victim. Challenges will come, but they are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to refine you. Instead of asking, "Why me?" Зрение. Сдвиньте перспективу и спросите, «Господь, как я должен распоряжаться этим хорошо?» Every difficulty is an opportunity for growth, and every hardship is shaping you into the person God has called you to be. Another key to sustaining your calling is understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. Even Jesus, who carried the greatest mission of all, regularly withdrew to pray. Taking time to recharge is not a sign of weakness, it is wisdom. When you prioritize your spiritual and emotional well-being, you are better equipped to fulfill your calling with endurance and joy. Beyond thinking about today, you must also think generationally. Proverbs 13:22 reminds us that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Your calling is not just about you, it is about those who will come after you. What you build today will impact future generations. Whether through your faith, your obedience, or the legacy you leave, your calling is part of a much bigger picture. Keeping this perspective will help you persevere when challenges arise. At times, you will be misunderstood. This is a reality that even great biblical leaders faced. Joseph was despised by his own brothers. David's family doubted his ability. Jesus himself was rejected in his hometown. Not everyone will understand your calling, and that is okay. You do not need validation from everyone, only faithfulness to the one who called you. Above all, remember that God is your ultimate source. You are not the one who sustains your calling. He is. Philippians 4:19 assures us that God will supply all your needs according to his riches and glory. You do not have to carry this weight alone. Surrender your burdens, trust in his provision, and walk forward with confidence, knowing that he who called you is faithful to sustain you. Heavenly Father, I come before you today, lifting up every person listening to this message, every man, every woman who carries the weight of provision for their family. Lord, you see their struggles, their silent prayers, and the burdens they carry. Many are weary, many feel overwhelmed, but you are their strength, their refuge, and their provider. Right now, in the mighty name of Jesus, I declare a breakthrough over their lives. Father, I pray that every chain of struggle be broken. Let every spirit of heaviness be lifted, and every financial burden be overturned. You are Jehovah Jireh, our provider, and I trust that you are already making a way where there seems to be no way. No attack of the enemy will prosper against them, for you are their shield and defender. Strengthen them, Lord, not just physically but emotionally and spiritually. Fill their hearts with peace and their minds with clarity. Let them know that they are not alone in this journey. Pour out supernatural provision, divine favor, and unexpected blessings over their lives. Open doors of opportunity, multiply the work of their hands, and guide them in wisdom as they steward their resources. Let them walk in victory, prosperity, and the fullness of their divine purpose. May they never forget that they are not just providing for their families. They are laying a foundation of faith, perseverance, and legacy. And Lord, I thank you for them. Thank you for their sacrifices, their love, and their dedication. May they feel seen, valued, and appreciated, not just by their families, but by you, the one who rewards those who trust in you. I declare over them today, they are chosen, they are covered, they are victorious. In Jesus' mighty name, Amen. If this word spoke to you, let's subscribe, share, and sow into this mission, because you are not just a breadwinner, you are a history maker. God bless you. There are moments in life that feel too profound to be mere coincidences, times when something deep within stirs, urging you to pay attention. You've experienced strange separations from people, constant opposition, or unexplainable moments of clarity and guidance. These are not random occurrences. They are signs of divine markers pointing to a greater calling on your life. Some people go through life without ever experiencing these signs, but for those chosen for an extraordinary purpose, they are undeniable. If you've noticed them, they are evidence of a divine anointing that sets you apart. Your journey is not like everyone else's because your destiny is different. In this video, we will uncover 5 mysterious signs that indicate you are dangerously anointed, chosen by God for something far greater than you may even realize. These signs are not just rare, they are profound, shaping your path and revealing a higher plan unfolding in your life. If you've ever felt like you were meant for something extraordinary, pay close attention. The signs you've encountered may be the confirmation you've been seeking. Sign number 1. Unexplainable isolation, a divine separation. There comes a point in life when you begin to feel an unexplainable distance growing between you and the people who once felt like home. Friends who were once constants in your life begin to drift away. Relationships that once provided comfort and stability start to feel strained, and in some cases they break apart completely. Even familiar places, your childhood home, your workplace, your social circles, start to feel different, as though you no longer belong. It's not just a phase, it's a shift that leaves you feeling like an outsider in your own world. At first, you may try to rationalize it. You wonder if you've done something wrong, if people are changing, or if life is simply pulling everyone in different directions. But deep down, there's a nagging feeling that something bigger is at play. This feeling of isolation is not a coincidence, it is a divine separation. When God anoints someone for a higher purpose, He often removes them from environments, relationships, and distractions that no longer serve their destiny. What feels like loneliness is, in reality, a season of preparation. God is setting you apart, not to punish you, but to refine you for what lies ahead. Many of the greatest figures in the Bible went through this same process. Moses spent years alone in the wilderness before leading Israel to freedom. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers and thrown into prison before he was elevated to power. Even Jesus withdrew into solitude, spending 40 days in the desert before beginning his ministry. Isolation is often the training ground for the anointed, a sacred period where God strengthens your faith, sharpens your vision, and deepens your dependence on Him. This period of separation is not just about external relationships. It is also an internal transformation. God is removing not only people from your life, but also the versions of yourself that can't go where He is taking you. The old habits, the need for validation, the distractions, He is stripping them away so that you can step fully into the person He created you to be. It is in the quiet, when the noise of the world fades, that you begin to hear God's voice more clearly. You start to understand His plan in ways you couldn't before. Though painful, this season of isolation is temporary. It is not meant to last forever, but to prepare you for the next chapter. When the time is right, God will bring the right people into your life, those who align with your purpose, who uplift and strengthen you, who walk with you in faith. Until then, embrace this sacred space. Use this time to heal, to grow, and to deepen your connection with God. Trust that He is not removing things from your life to harm you, but to position you for something far greater. Your isolation is not rejection, it is redirection. You are being set apart, not forgotten. And when the season shifts, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and fully prepared for the calling placed upon your life. Sign number 2. Constant opposition and unprovoked attacks. The weight of your calling. One of the most undeniable signs of divine anointing is the resistance that seems to follow you, even when you have done nothing to provoke it. You may notice that people misunderstand you, criticize you, or even turn against you without cause. Relationships that once felt secure may suddenly become strained, and those who once supported you may now seem distant or even hostile. Sometimes the opposition comes in the form of jealousy, gossip, or betrayal from people you least expected. Other times it may appear as obstacles, setbacks, or an unrelenting series of challenges that make you question why things are so difficult. It can be disheartening to feel like no matter what you do, you are met with resistance at every turn. But this is not a coincidence. This is spiritual warfare. When God anoints someone for a great purpose, the enemy takes notice. The weight of your calling attracts opposition, not because you are doing something wrong, but because you are a threat to darkness. Your presence, your gifts, and your potential make others uncomfortable, even if they cannot fully understand why. Some will be drawn to your light while others will resist it, fearing what they do not understand. The enemy sees what you carry even when you do not, and will do everything possible to discourage, distract, and derail you before you fully step into your purpose. The greater the calling, the greater the battle. This is why many who are destined for extraordinary things experience extraordinary challenges. But opposition is not a sign of failure. It is confirmation that you are walking in the right direction. The enemy does not waste time attacking those who pose no threat. If you find yourself constantly facing resistance, it is because your purpose is powerful. This battle is not just about people turning against you. It is about the unseen spiritual forces working to shake your faith and cause you to doubt yourself. It may manifest as deep discouragement, moments of self-doubt, or overwhelming fatigue. The enemy's goal is to make you believe that you are not strong enough, not worthy enough, or not capable of fulfilling the calling on your life. However, opposition is also an opportunity. Every challenge, every betrayal, and every difficulty is refining you, making you stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what lies ahead. Through resistance, God is building resilience in you. Instead of letting opposition shake you, let it remind you of who you are and who you are. Stay rooted in prayer, seek God's wisdom before responding to conflict, and protect your peace. Not every battle is meant to be fought. Some require you to rise above and trust that God will handle the rest. Surround yourself with those who uplift and encourage you, and most importantly, trust that every challenge you face is part of the process. You are not called to an ordinary life, and that means you will face extraordinary battles. But take heart, God is with you, strengthening you for the journey ahead. Sign number 3, unusual sensitivity to energy and environments. The gift of spiritual discernment. Have you ever stepped into a room and instantly felt the atmosphere shift, sensing an unspoken tension or an overwhelming peace before a single word was spoken? Do you find yourself deeply affected by the emotions of others, as if you can feel their joy, pain, or sorrow without them saying a word? This heightened sensitivity is not a coincidence. It is a divine gift, a form of spiritual discernment given to those who are called to a greater purpose. People who are anointed often possess an unusual awareness of the energy around them. They can sense when something is off, even if there is no visible reason for it. Certain places may bring them a deep sense of peace and clarity, while others may leave them feeling drained, uneasy, or spiritually burdened. This is because their spirit is attuned to the unseen, able to perceive spiritual realities beyond what the natural eye can detect. This sensitivity is a tool, given by God, to help them navigate life with wisdom, recognize hidden motives, and avoid situations that could be harmful to their calling. However, carrying this gift comes with challenges. Constantly absorbing the emotions and energy of others can be exhausting, leaving you feeling emotionally and spiritually depleted. Being able to sense unspoken truths can sometimes feel isolating, as though you are experiencing a reality that others do not understand. The weight of knowing things before they happen, feeling the burdens of those around you, or discerning deception can be overwhelming if not properly managed. This is why it is essential to stay spiritually grounded. To protect your peace, it is important to spend intentional time in prayer and meditation, asking God to guide and strengthen you. Visualizing a spiritual shield around yourself, filtering out negativity while allowing divine wisdom to flow, can help you maintain balance. Setting boundaries and learning when to step away from overwhelming situations is also crucial. Your sensitivity is not a weakness. It is a divine compass, leading you toward truth, alignment, and purpose. Embrace it, nurture it, and use it to walk in wisdom. You were given this gift for a reason, and when used correctly, it can help you fulfill the extraordinary calling God has placed on your life. Sign number 4. Repeated signs and synchronicities, divine messages in plain sight. There are moments in life when reality seems to whisper, when ordinary events take on an unusual sense of meaning, as if the universe itself is trying to get your attention. You keep seeing the same numbers, 1111, 444, appearing on clocks, receipts, and license plates. Maybe you hear a particular phrase repeated by different people, or a song plays at the exact moment when you need encouragement. These are not coincidences. They are divine messages, subtle yet powerful signs meant to guide and reassure you. For those who are anointed, these synchronicities appear frequently, especially in times of uncertainty or transition. They are like spiritual breadcrumbs, leading you along the path that has been predestined for you. Sometimes they come as symbols: a feather appearing unexpectedly, a butterfly landing beside you in a moment of deep contemplation, or a stranger saying words that directly answer a question you've been silently asking God. Other times, they manifest as perfectly timed events, just when you are about to give up, an opportunity presents itself, or when you feel lost, an unexpected conversation provides the clarity you need. These moments are too precise to be random. They are divine alignments orchestrated by God. The challenge, however, is recognizing these signs for what they are. In the busyness of life, it is easy to dismiss them as mere chance. But when patterns begin to emerge, when the same number, word, or experience keeps appearing, it is important to pause and reflect. What is God trying to tell you? How does this sign connect to what you have been praying about or struggling with? Keeping a journal of these experiences can help you see the bigger picture, revealing the deeper message that God is trying to communicate. While these signs are powerful, they are not meant to replace faith, but to strengthen it. They serve as reminders that God is actively involved in your journey, guiding your steps even when you feel uncertain. Instead of searching for signs, seek God first, and the signs will naturally follow. Trust that every repeated number, every well-timed encounter, and every mysterious synchronicity is a divine reassurance that you are on the right path, walking in alignment with His perfect plan for your life. Sign number 5. Divine favor and unexplainable breakthroughs. Walking in God's power. The most undeniable sign of divine anointing is the presence of supernatural favor in your life. You've exhausted every option, tried everything in your power, and yet, just when you're about to give up, a door opens where there was none. The financial provision arrives at the last minute, an unexpected opportunity appears, or a problem that seemed impossible is resolved effortlessly. These are not coincidences. They are evidence of divine favor. For those who are anointed, divine favor follows them in ways that cannot be explained by logic or effort alone. Opportunities seem to find them, people are drawn to help them, and success comes in ways that others struggle to attain. This favor is not about luck. It is the hand of God moving behind the scenes, aligning circumstances for His purpose. Sometimes, it comes in grand gestures: a promotion you didn't apply for, a connection that accelerates your destiny, or a miraculous healing. Other times it appears in quiet, subtle ways, meeting the right person at just the right time, stumbling upon the exact words of encouragement you needed, or finding a solution before you even knew you had a problem. However, divine favor is not just about receiving blessings. It comes with responsibility. When God grants favor, it is not meant to elevate you for personal gain, but to position you for impact. The resources, influence, and opportunities He gives you are tools to fulfill your calling, to serve others, and to glorify Him. Favor is a gift, but it is also a test. How you use it determines whether it continues to flow in your life. At times, it may feel like favor is delayed, as if you are waiting for a breakthrough that never comes. But God's timing is perfect, and what seems like a delay is often preparation. He is ensuring that when your moment arrives, you are ready to handle it. When favor does manifest, embrace it with gratitude, walk in it with humility, and use it wisely. It is a sign that God is not only with you but actively working on your behalf. Trust in His process, and know that every breakthrough is a step closer to the extraordinary purpose He has prepared for you. If these 5 signs resonate with you, take heart. You are not ordinary. You are anointed. Your journey may not always be easy, but it is leading you towards something extraordinary. Embrace the process. Trust in God's plan. And most importantly, never doubt the power of the calling on your life. Your anointing is not a burden. It is a divine assignment. Walk boldly in it. If this message speaks to you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, subscribe for more, and join this journey of divine alignment. The world needs your light. Let it shine. There are no coincidences in this life. If you're watching this right now, it's not by accident. Something greater than yourself has brought you to this exact moment. God has a message for you, one that will shift everything you thought you knew about your life, your purpose, and your destiny. Tonight is unlike any other night. This is not just another moment in time. It is a divine appointment, a pivotal moment in your journey. Everything you have gone through has prepared you for this very second. The struggles, the setbacks, the silent prayers whispered into the night, they have all led to this breakthrough. There is a powerful energy moving right now, orchestrated by the hand of God Himself. The universe is shifting, aligning, preparing to open doors you never imagined possible. But there's something you must do first. You must be ready. You must be awake. You must be willing to take the final step into the transformation waiting for you. Before we dive in, take a moment. Breathe. Feel the weight of this moment. Now, to signal your readiness to the divine forces moving in your favor, like and subscribe. Comment 99. This simple action tells the universe, I am ready to receive. When you take these steps, you are not just engaging with a video. You are activating the energy within you, opening yourself up to the miracles waiting to unfold. Stay with me until the end, because this message is for you. And if you truly are a chosen one, something deep inside you already knows it. There comes a time in every person's life when everything shifts, a moment so profound that it changes the course of destiny forever. That moment is here for you. This is not just another ordinary night. It is a divine appointment, a sacred opportunity for breakthrough and renewal. You are standing at the threshold of something extraordinary, a transformation so powerful that it will redefine your life, your purpose, and your future. The struggles you have faced, the battles you have fought, and the moments of doubt that once held you back have all been leading to this very moment. Can you feel it? The energy is shifting, aligning perfectly in your favor. Every delay, every challenge, every closed door was never a rejection. It was a redirection, a preparation for something far greater. Tonight marks the end of stagnation and the beginning of acceleration. You are stepping into a season where prayers turn into reality, where dreams that once seemed impossible begin to unfold right before your eyes. The weight you have carried, the burdens that have exhausted your spirit, are about to be lifted as divine intervention takes place. This is the moment when you rise above fear, above doubt, above every limitation that has tried to keep you from stepping into your highest calling. The universe has heard your silent prayers, seen your hidden struggles, and felt the intensity of your longing for change. And now, the response is here. Doors you never imagined would open are about to be unlocked. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach are now within your grasp. The right people, the right circumstances, and the divine timing of everything in your life are coming together in perfect harmony. You have been chosen for this transformation. It is not a coincidence that you are here, reading these words. Deep down, you already know this is your time. Something inside you has been stirring, whispering that you are meant for more, that the life you desire is not a distant dream, but a reality waiting to be claimed. Now is the time to step forward with unwavering faith, to release the fear, the hesitation, and the doubts that have kept you in the shadows for too long. Your breakthrough does not require perfection, only readiness. The world is waiting to see you step into the fullness of who you were created to be. Your transformation will not just be a change in circumstances, but a complete shift in your spirit, your confidence, and your vision for the future. Everything you have endured has shaped you into someone stronger, wiser, and ready for the abundance that is about to flow into your life. So embrace this moment with open arms, because your transformation is here. The journey begins now, and the life you were always meant to live is unfolding before you. Everything in your life, every triumph, every challenge, every detour has led you to this very moment. You are not here by chance. You are not wandering without direction. You have been divinely guided, placed exactly where you need to be, preparing to step fully into the purpose for which you were created. There is a reason your heart has felt restless, searching for something greater. That feeling is not emptiness. It is a calling. It is the voice of God stirring within you, urging you to rise, to embrace the destiny that has been waiting for you all along. There is a divine blueprint for your life, a sacred plan designed with intention and love. Every delay, every closed door, and every moment of uncertainty was never meant to discourage you but to prepare you. The struggles that once felt like setbacks were actually setting you up for something greater. You were never being held back. You were being refined, strengthened, and molded into the person who is now ready to step into divine alignment. Your purpose has always been within you, waiting for the right moment to be activated. That moment is now. Look around you. Feel the shift happening in your spirit. The signs are everywhere. What once felt out of reach is now drawing closer. The dreams you once doubted are proving to be more than just wishes. They are divine visions placed in your heart by God Himself. And if He planted them within you, it means they are meant to come to life. You were never meant to live a life of limitation, fear, or uncertainty. You were created to walk in power, in confidence, and in purpose. The universe is now aligning in your favor, moving obstacles out of your way, connecting you with the right people, and opening doors that no one can shut. But here's the truth. This transformation requires you to step forward. You cannot wait on the sidelines, hoping things will change. You must claim it. You must believe it. You must walk boldly in the direction God is leading you. Divine purpose is not passive. It is active. It is a commitment to trust the process, to let go of fear, and to embrace the extraordinary path that is unfolding before you. This is your moment. You are no longer lost, no longer searching, no longer waiting for validation. You are aligned. The power within you is awakening, and the world is about to see you step into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. The time for hesitation is over. The time for doubt is gone. Stand tall, breathe deep, and embrace this truth. You are aligned with divine purpose, and nothing can stop what God has set in motion. There is a profound shift happening in your life at this very moment. The dreams that once seemed distant, the prayers that felt unanswered, and the desires you have carried in your heart are no longer just possibilities. They are becoming reality. Manifestation is now yours. Everything you have been believing for, everything you have been working toward, is aligning with divine timing. The universe is responding to your energy, your faith, and your readiness to receive. The delay is over. The obstacles are being removed. What you have longed for is now within your reach. Manifestation is not just about wishing. It is about aligning your mind, spirit, and actions with the reality you want to create. It is about stepping boldly into the belief that you are deserving of the life you have envisioned. When you shift your mindset from doubt to faith, from fear to confidence, from lack to abundance, you activate a divine force that moves mountains on your behalf. What you speak, what you focus on, and what you expect all have the power to shape your future. And now, that power is fully awakened within you. Can you feel it? The energy surrounding you is changing. Doors that were once closed are opening effortlessly. Opportunities that once seemed impossible are making their way to you. The right people, the right circumstances, and the right moments are coming together in divine orchestration. This is not luck. This is not a coincidence. This is the law of manifestation in action. God's promise that what you seek with faith will come to pass. The visions placed in your heart were never random. They were divine assignments, waiting for you to step into them with boldness and belief. Now is the time to speak life over your dreams. Declare with unwavering certainty that success, love, health, and abundance are already yours. See it. Feel it. Walk as if it is already done. Because the moment you truly believe, the universe has no choice but to respond in kind. The doubts that once held you back are dissolving. The fears that kept you stuck are fading away. You are stepping into a realm of unlimited possibilities where miracles are your new normal. The power to manifest is now fully in your hands. This is not a fleeting moment. This is a permanent transformation. The person you were before, full of hesitation and uncertainty, is gone. You are now a magnet for blessings, attracting abundance in every form. The life you desire is no longer a distant dream. It is unfolding before your very eyes. Trust it. Embrace it. Walk boldly into it. Manifestation is now yours, and nothing can stand in your way. You were never meant to struggle through life, merely surviving from one day to the next. You were created for more, for abundance, joy, and fulfillment in every aspect of your existence. Abundance is not reserved for a select few. It is not a matter of luck or chance. It is your birthright. You were designed to live in a state of overflowing blessings, where opportunities, success, love, and prosperity flow freely into your life. Everything you need to thrive has already been set in motion for you, waiting for you to step into it with confidence and faith. For too long, you may have believed that abundance was something you had to chase, something that always felt just out of reach. But the truth is, abundance has been pursuing you all along. The moment you shift your mindset from scarcity to gratitude, from fear to faith, you unlock the divine flow of prosperity that was meant for you all along. You do not have to earn it. You only have to receive it. The doors to financial breakthroughs, career success, meaningful relationships, and vibrant health are already open. You only need to walk through them. Abundance is not just about wealth. It is about richness in all areas of life. It is waking up every morning with a heart full of peace, knowing that you are exactly where you need to be. It is attracting the right people, the right opportunities, and the right circumstances effortlessly because you are in perfect alignment with your divine purpose. It is experiencing love, joy, and fulfillment beyond what you ever imagined. You were never meant to live in lack. You were meant to thrive. Right now, at this very moment, the universe is responding to your energy. The more you believe in your worthiness, the more you will see abundance flow into your life. It is not a question of whether abundance is possible for you. It is a question of whether you are ready to accept it. Let go of the limiting beliefs that tell you you're not enough. Release the doubts that whisper you're not worthy. Step boldly into the truth that you are deserving of every blessing that comes your way. The time for waiting is over. You are stepping into a season of overflow. Opportunities will chase you down. Financial breakthroughs will find you. Doors that were once closed will swing open effortlessly. Relationships will flourish. Your health will be restored. The success you once dreamed of will become your reality. You were not born for a life of struggle. You were born for abundance. And now, it is yours to claim. Walk forward with confidence, knowing that you are stepping into the life you were always meant to live. Abundance is your birthright, and nothing can take it away from you. As we close, I need you to understand one thing. This is not a passive moment. This is not a time to sit back and wait. This is your activation. This is your defining moment. If you are ready to step into the life God has prepared for you, claim it now. Declare it in the comments. Type, "I am ready," and seal this moment in faith. The universe has aligned. God has spoken. Now, the choice is yours. Are you ready to walk into your destiny? Because tonight, everything changes. They laughed at you. They whispered behind your back. They called you foolish for believing in true love. They watched your loneliness and mocked it, as if being alone meant being unworthy. They thought rejection would crush you, that heartbreak would leave you broken beyond repair. They sneered at your faith, dismissing it as childish, naive, a hopeless dream. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't possibly see, was that while they were laughing, heaven was working. While they ridicule you, God was preparing something beyond their comprehension. Every tear you cried, every lonely night, every silent prayer, it was not for nothing. It was all leading you to a divinely ordained love, one that is deeper, stronger, and more unshakable than anything they have ever known. Your true love is coming, and this time it's different. This love isn't just a fleeting emotion or a temporary infatuation. It is a divine appointment, a love that carries heaven's seal. The very love they said didn't exist for you is already written in the heavens, waiting for its appointed time. So, let them laugh, let them doubt, let them mock. Because when God moves, the laughter will stop. Rejection is one of the deepest wounds a heart can endure. It cuts in ways that words cannot fully capture, leaving behind invisible scars that whisper doubts into your soul. There were moments when you sat in silence, wrestling with questions that seemed to have no answers. God, why? Why does love always seem just out of reach? Why am I always the one left behind? You replayed the scenes in your mind, the people who walked away, the doors that closed before you could even step through, the painful reminders that what you longed for was not yet yours. It felt personal. It felt final. But here is what you must understand. Rejection was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to redirect you. It wasn't a sign of your unworthiness, nor was it proof that you were unloved. Instead, it was a divine intervention, God's way of protecting you from settling for something less than His best. Every no you received was never an absence of love, but rather a safeguard from the wrong love. Every heartbreak was not a punishment, but a preparation for something greater. Consider Joseph, a young man full of dreams, sold into slavery by his own brothers, betrayed, abandoned, discarded. To them, it was the end of his story, but to God it was just the beginning. The very path that others meant for his downfall became the stepping stone to his destiny. What they intended for evil, God transformed into a position of power and influence. What if Joseph had never been sold? What if he had never faced rejection? He would have never walked into his God-ordained purpose. Think about Hannah, a woman who knew the sting of rejection all too well. She was mocked and ridiculed for her barrenness, treated as if she had no worth. The whispers of those around her must have been deafening, their sneers a constant reminder of what she lacked. But in her brokenness, she turned to God, pouring out her soul before Him. And in His perfect timing, He gave her Samuel, a child who would grow into a mighty prophet. Had she not endured the waiting, the heartbreak, and the rejection, she may have never birthed the man who would anoint kings. And then there was Noah, a man who spent years building an ark when there was no sign of rain. The people around him laughed, calling him foolish. They mocked his obedience, dismissed his faith, and saw his unwavering trust in God as ridiculous. But when the flood came, Noah stood secure, while the world was washed away. His rejection by man positioned him for preservation by God. Now look at yourself. Every rejection you have faced was not the end of your story. It was merely a chapter in God's greater plan. He saw the hidden betrayals, the unspoken intentions, the silent wounds that you couldn't perceive, and in His infinite wisdom He intervened not to hurt you, but to shield you. What felt like abandonment was actually divine alignment. The doors that closed were never meant for you. The people who left were never meant to stay. And the love that has not yet arrived is simply being prepared in God's perfect timing. You were never being denied. You were being redirected. And when God finally opens the right door, you will understand why every closed one was necessary. The world has a habit of overlooking treasures while they are still being formed. A diamond in its raw state looks like nothing more than an ordinary rock, dull, unremarkable, unworthy of attention. But to a skilled jeweler, it holds immeasurable value, waiting to be refined and revealed. You are that diamond. For years they dismissed you. They told you that you were too much, or perhaps not enough. Too soft, too strong, too quiet, too bold. They convinced you that love was something others received, but not you. Maybe you started to believe it, that somehow you were destined to be overlooked, that your heart was too big, your standards too high, your dreams too impossible. But the rejection of men has no power over the approval of God. Look at David, the forgotten son. When the prophet Samuel came to anoint the next king of Israel, David's own father didn't even bother to present him. Instead, Jesse paraded his older, stronger, more impressive-looking sons before Samuel, assuming that surely one of them was the chosen one. But God had already made his decision. Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. David was overlooked by men but handpicked by God. His own family failed to recognize his worth, yet he was the one God called to be king. Look at Jesus, the Son of God. He was despised and rejected, mocked and ridiculed by the very people he came to save. They spat at him, accused him, and cast him aside, believing he was nothing more than an ordinary man, unworthy of honor. But their rejection did not change his identity. It fulfilled his destiny. Had they not despised him, had they not crucified him, the greatest act of love, the redemption of humanity, would never have been completed. You were never meant to fit in with those who couldn't see your worth. They didn't recognize you because they weren't meant to. They didn't cherish you because they weren't assigned to your destiny. Their rejection was not a reflection of your value. It was proof of their inability to see it. You are a masterpiece in progress, being shaped by the hands of the Creator. And when the right person enters your life, they will see you, not as something to be discarded, but as something to be cherished. The love that is coming will honor you the way you deserve. No more begging to be seen. No more wondering if you're enough. No more questioning if love is meant for you. Because it is. And when it arrives, you will understand why those who failed to see your worth were never meant to have you. You are not waiting in vain. Every moment of longing, every tear you've shed, every whispered prayer, it has all been seen by God. Yet the enemy has worked tirelessly to convince you otherwise. He has whispered lies into your heart, trying to make you believe that love is not meant for you. He has told you that you are forgotten, unworthy, or simply not destined for happiness. He has taken your disappointments and shaped them into doubts, hoping you would give up on the promise God has written over your life. But stop for a moment and ask yourself, if your love story wasn't powerful, why would the enemy try so hard to make you doubt it? The enemy does not attack what is insignificant. His greatest fear is that you will hold on to faith and trust in the divine timing of God. He knows that when your love story unfolds, it will be a testimony, one that will silence every doubt and prove that God always fulfills his promises. Look at Ruth. She lost everything: her husband, her security, her home. She could have chosen to give up, to let bitterness take over, but instead, she followed God's path. She remained faithful even when the future seemed uncertain. And in doing so, she walked right into the arms of Boaz, a man of honor and integrity, a man whom God had already prepared for her. Her story reminds us that even in loss, God is leading us to something greater. Think about Sarah, She waited decades for God's promise to be fulfilled. She even laughed at the thought of having a child in her old age. It seemed impossible. Time had passed. Hope seemed lost. But God's timing is never late. It is always perfect. Isaac was born, just as God had promised now. Think about you. Do you truly believe that the same God who orchestrated love stories for generations has somehow forgotten yours? Impossible. The love God has for you is already written. It is sealed in heaven, untouched by human rejection, protected from every past heartbreak, immune to every lie the enemy has spoken over your life. No disappointment, no delay, and no doubt can erase what God has already set in motion. Hold on, stay faithful, and trust that when God writes a love story, nothing and no one can take it away. When this love arrives, it will be more than just a relationship. It will be a testimony. It will be undeniable proof that God's promises are true, that His timing is perfect, and that no rejection, delay, or disappointment could stop what He has ordained for you. The very people who once mocked your faith, who doubted that true love was possible for you, will be left speechless. They will have no choice but to watch as you step into a love so profound, so divinely orchestrated, that it will erase every lie ever spoken against you. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. This love will be an overflowing cup, a demonstration of God's faithfulness, a reminder that He never forgets His promises. It will restore what the enemy tried to steal, your confidence, your hope, your belief in love. Where rejection once made you feel unworthy, this love will remind you that you were always worth waiting for. This love will not be built on fleeting attraction or temporary infatuation. It will not be something you have to chase, beg for, or fight to keep. It will never leave you feeling insecure, questioning your worth, or doubting your place in someone's heart. Instead, it will be a covenant, sealed in faith and divine purpose. It will be a love that uplifts, strengthens, and heals. A partnership that reflects God's glory. It will be the kind of love that feels safe, certain, and unwavering, where you are cherished for who you truly are. This love will not only bring joy to your heart, but it will also silence every doubter, proving that God's plans for you were far greater than what anyone could have imagined. What once seemed impossible will now stand as a testimony to His power and His perfect love for you. Every moment of loneliness was never wasted. It was a season of divine preparation. Those nights when your heart ached, believing that love had passed you by, were not empty moments of despair. They were sacred. Your tears were not in vain. They were watering the seeds of something greater, something heaven-ordained, something worth every second of the wait. It may have felt like silence, like your prayers were echoing into nothingness, but all along, heaven was moving. Every moment you chose faith over fear, every time you surrendered your desires instead of grasping at something less, you were waging spiritual warfare. You were breaking chains you couldn't see, dismantling generational cycles that had kept others bound. You were preparing your heart, stretching your spirit, allowing God to refine you so that when His promise arrived, you would be ready to receive it fully. Waiting is not punishment. It is preparation. God wasn't withholding love from you. He was protecting you from anything less than His best. He wasn't ignoring your prayers. He was aligning them with His perfect timing. What you thought was delay was actually divine strategy. And now the shift is happening. The long nights of wondering, the seasons of waiting, the whispered prayers in solitude, all of it has led to this moment. The season of waiting is ending, and the season of fulfillment is beginning. The doors that once seemed closed are opening, and what once felt impossible is now within reach. God is speaking. My child, I have seen your tears. I have heard your prayers. I have watched you trust me even when you couldn't see the way forward. And now, I am bringing you the love I have prepared for you. The love that is coming is not just an answer to your prayers. It is a reflection of my faithfulness. It is a love that will glorify me, a love that will stand the test of time, a love that was always meant for you. What is coming will not just heal your heart, it will prove that the wait was never wasted. It will remind you why settling was never an option. The love that is about to enter your life is not just a blessing, it is a testimony of endurance, of faith, of a God who never forgets his promises. This love story will be written by the hand of God, sealed by his favor, and no one, not even the enemy, will be able to erase it. So, stand tall, hold your head high, because your true love is not just coming, it is here. The love that was once a promise is now becoming a reality. The story they thought had ended is just beginning, and the next time they laugh, it won't be at you. If this message has touched your heart, don't let the journey end here. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay connected as we continue to walk in faith, uncover God's promises, and embrace the love he has prepared for us. Your support helps spread this powerful message. Let's walk this journey together.